Good evening everybody and welcome to Motive Racing Clio Cup for the Tier 2 Round 5 here at Silverstone National. Matthew Duffin joining the commentary box again tonight by Andy.
Hello everybody, good evening Matt, good to be here once again for what's surely going to be a good evening of racing. We've got two tiers tonight across the Clio Cup. It'll be a fascinating battle of the slipstream obviously around this Silverstone National. If you guys don't know, it's basically combines a little part of the old circuit, the first sector of the old first sector, which is technically, so it goes from Brooklands through to Maggots and Beckett's, and then it kind of goes it sort of cuts out the middle sector, doesn't it? It sort of cuts out the middle and the final sector, and then it sort of comes back in sort of around Brooklands. So it's an interesting circuit, and obviously most of it's flat out in these Clios. So it is going to be pretty fascinating. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of chopping and changing tonight in the order. But yeah, can't wait. Very excited to see this one, how it pans out.
We are expecting such a good race tonight with a good sized grid of 12 cars on the field tonight. So near enough a full grid. Just going to quickly run you through the championship standings. It is still Rotti that leads the way from Little Leach. In fact, actually, sorry, that's not an up-to-date standings list. There's the right one. It is Rotti who still leads from Little Leach by 12 points. TJ Humpy is in third with NJ in fourth place. Gary has picked up 2 wins back-to-back so far. He currently sits in fifth. Bullen just behind him by a point with Superfast Joe on 62 points. Offcuts on 43 and Penguin Dude 35 points. Leto Melito's on 32 points. Declan Grant on 30. Klaus Martini then on 28.76 off the leader, and Quick and Deadly on 17. Photo Joe, we did see last week in qualifying, didn't race, so he is on no points.
Yeah, so Rotti's championship lead so far this season is mainly down to his consistency. Obviously, he's been here since the start of the season. Only picked up 2 podiums. I say only 2 podiums compared to guys like he obviously hasn't picked up a win. We've seen Gary take the last 2 rounds, but joined midway through the season. His first race was actually at Laguna a couple of weeks ago, which we were both commentating on that night as well, Matthew. And what a race that was! But yeah, that was Gary's first win. He obviously he's obviously on a hat trick this week here at Silverstone, so he's going to be looking to try and make some gains in those point standings on Rotti, who's had the luxury of being able to compete throughout the season. So Rotti's definitely got the upper hand in that regard, but it's definitely the fact that he's been here for every single race so far this season as to why he's got that lead. Little Leach likewise took the win at the first round at Rapuna Park. The last couple of rounds he's been on the podium. I think he missed Hugo, which was
he missed Hugo, yeah.
Yeah, so we should have 13, I think. Oh,
yeah.
Can you hear me now, dude?
Yep, can you hear me now?
I noticed as well there that Gary has only just joined the session as well. It looks like we lost him for a moment because I couldn't see his name on the list as Andy was mentioning him about with could be his hat trick of wins. We saw a cracking battle where Gary took his first win, where we both commentated at Laguna Seca, and then a good race from the championship leader in second place, Little Leach, who's currently on provisional pole at the minute, last week at Sonoma. Good battle throughout the race, managed to pick up a few places after a poor start from Little Leach involved in an incident. But they both recovered well. And can they continue their fine form into this week, all 3 of them? Can TJ Humpy look to get on the podium again as well, like he did last week, and maybe start to upset the top 3? NJ starting to lose a bit of ground on the top of the leaderboard at the moment. He currently sits 3rd or 4th in the championship standings, 4th on track. And this man Bullen, we saw at Laguna Seca, Andy, that Bullen had a good race apart from his pit stop. Can he recover from that and try and find the pace he had there?
Yeah, it was all down to when the rain started falling midway through the race. He was up there or thereabouts, battling for. Well, I think he was in the lead of the race at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Towards the end of the race, the pit stops completely screwed him over, and he ended up finishing down in 4th place. So definitely, he'll be happy to see that it's dry this week. I didn't catch what happened to him. I saw he finished P6 in last week's race at Sonoma. I don't know exactly what occurred there. I managed to catch a little bit of the race. I saw that Gary took a convincing win in that one. He also was 3rd in the Tier 1 race as a reserve. Well done to him in that one. But yeah, I haven't seen too much of Bullen from last week. I don't know if you guys remember what happened to him, but he's got lots of points.
I think it was just a pace thing. I just didn't think he was on the pace. If I remember right, I don't think there was anything he'd done wrong. I think he didn't have the pace last week. It seemed to struggle for that. Right. As you see the car behind Bullen just running wide there, that would probably be a slowdown penalty, if not a lap time invalid.
Absolutely. As we see here, we've got a pretty sizzling lap time coming in there from that's Bunyip Adventure on his debut here at Motive Racing, putting it into third place. He was briefly second there for a moment. Bullen just overhauling him a few moments afterwards, but Bunyip Adventures, this is his debut, isn't it? I'm sure it is. He's mentioning earlier in the
here before.
Yeah, great stuff from him. Good to see him already at the sharp end. Just 0.4 of a second off of the provisional pole time being set by Little Leach, who in turn is just coming up towards the line now. See if he can improve on his current lap time. It looks like he stays on the same one, but yeah, Bunyip Adventures, as we said, making his inception tonight. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this man here as he's coming up out of the last corner through Luffield and up through Woodcote now, driving in the number 24. Let's see if he can maybe upset the odds and get a pole position on his debut here. Comes over the line now. Couldn't improve on that particular lap. Did I see a flash of the lights there? I think I might have done. Don't know.
Just seen Gary just jump up into second place ahead of Bullen and Bunyip Adventure, currently 0.3 off of Little Leach. So a good lap time there from Gary. Not enough to get pole position at the moment. Rotty down in P5 so far. We've seen him not get to grips with qualifying last week, but then really came through the grid in the race. Possibly something that he's stronger in a race format than he is a qualifying format. So can he go quicker in the race after this next 7.5 minutes of qualifying? As Bunyip Adventure in the pits at the moment.
One thing about Rotty is that he's never afraid to get his elbows out. We saw it at Laguna a couple of weeks ago when he was battling with NJ and TJ Hompey, and he almost barged his way through at one stage. I don't know if you remember, they were coming sort of through that first sector checkpoint, and he was about 3/4 of a car length. He was just about alongside, his front bumper was alongside TJ's rear bumper, and he did elbow him out of the way a little bit, and luckily for him, TJ didn't put in an inquiry.
I think we questioned on air, didn't we, about the fact that could have been a steward's inquiry, but obviously nothing came of that.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't severe enough for us to intervene off our own accord, and TJ obviously wasn't too concerned about it, but yeah, absolutely, it had me scratching my head a little bit. As you can see here, I'm watching Rotty go through somebody there, so let's get away from that.
I think that's Gary. I think that's because Gary's joined the server late. I think that's what the ghosting is. Gary joins the server late. The other cars on track can't see him, but Gary can see everybody else. That's why the ghosting's there. Kind of an effect Project Cars have, unfortunately.
Yep, didn't realise that
until I had this
game for 2 years.
Sorry, NJ's gone second. He's just about to cross the line again here. Little Leach has improved on his time, 0.4 from NJ now, who tops. He's on the front row of the grid provisionally with Little Leach. So a good time from NJ there. I said earlier we've seen him starting to slip down the championship order a bit, but really putting in a lap. I was speaking to OnlyG just before we came on air, and I've raced with Gary Little Leach in a previous series as we see Gary go back into second place. And these three guys around this track, so it's more a touring car sort of series, are fantastic in these cars. Really quick, super fast. So you should see a good battle from these guys throughout this race today. And as you can see, they're all sort of trading times at the top of the order. Bullen in 5th, and Bullen in 4th, and Bunyip Adventure in 5th. Only half a second down on Little East. So the top 5, in fact, you look at the top 8, all covered by 0.8 of a second. So a really tight grid at the moment.
Absolutely. One man that I'm a little bit puzzled about at the moment, though, is TJ Hompey. Comes into this round 3rd in the championship on 84 points. He's got guys like NJ and Gary hot on his heels. Also Bullen and Superfast Joe. The point standings are so close in that battle for around 2nd in the championship. And the thing is, it's going to go down to the wire as to who is going to get that final top 5 spot. Because obviously only the top 5 get promotion to the top tier 1 at the end of the season. So one of those guys, out of probably about, I would say 6, maybe 7 drivers, it's going to get their heart broken at the end of the season. 1 or 2 of them are not going to get that position. It's going to get very hotly contested. And obviously the last 2 tracks, this one, Silverstone National, next week Monza Short, are very much a lottery in terms of where you end up. It's it could change from one lap to the next. You could be first one lap and then suddenly you're down in 7th or 8th the next lap, and through no fault of your own, it could just be because you just end up being swamped by the rest of the pack. Yeah. It's one of those situations. So
you've got to be honest every lap. You're right. You've got to be on it every lap. One tiny mistake, and you just find yourself dropping down the order a little bit. TJ Humpy took pole position last week, so I'm quite surprised he's only sitting down in 10th here. Clearly struggling for a pace. A slipstream might be the thing that he needs, and he's not quite close enough to the car in front to get a slipstream down the Wellington Straight, or part of the Wellington Straight there.
Yeah, he's in desperate need of a sparring partner at this point, but he's not quite getting the luck of the draw, and TJ Humpy's going to suffer for this if he can't get a good lap of him, because he could end up being dropped on the slipstream. It's so easily done, and once you lose the slipstream around this track, you're pretty much kissing goodbye to your chances in the race. Let's see what he does this time around. He's got a bit of toe in front of him, but
no improvement.
No
improvement that time around.
It's not so much the position to me that's puzzling, but it's also the amount of time, the margin between the leaders and himself. 1.4 seconds, but not just that. He's 0.6 off of 8th place. It's quite a severe lack of pace. Maybe the setup, could be a big issue with setup there for TJ Humpy. Maybe he's gone for more. I wouldn't say downforce, because these Clios don't have any downforce, but certainly that suspension's being set up for something a little more stable, I think. And you need a loose setup around this track if you're going to succeed, obviously with most of it being flat out. TJ Humpy needs to put his finger out. As we see Little Leach there, I don't know if you were watching that on your monitor there, Matthew, but Little Leach just seemed to get taken out there as he was on a run. I think he was just coming up on another driver who was actually on a lap as well. So
I didn't see Little Leach. I know he just came out the pits. Bunyip Adventure's just gone into P2 though. I was just watching Leto Melito cross the line and he didn't improve. Bunyip Adventure's just gone into P2, and NJ's gained quite a bit of time. He's gained 0.3 of a second from somewhere. But Bunyip Adventure on his debut, currently sitting on the front row of the grid with 2 minutes remaining. Can Gary or anybody else gain any more time here? But you're right, we keep going back to the TJ Humpy thing. He was on pole last week, showed good pace in the race as well. Alright, Gary was well out in front, but he was comfortably ahead of the 3rd place man on track. Showed good pace in the race as well, but just something wrong with his setup here, possibly at Silverstone. You've not got many braking zones to make mistakes into the corners, only 2 or 3. So maybe something that's not set up, right on the car. As we're just watching Bunyip Adventure come round the final bend now. Had a nice toe, maybe got held up a bit through Luffield. Doesn't improve this time round. NJ's in the pits, that's not where he'll want to be. With only a minute remaining, he might want to come back out, try and get round. See where Gary is on track. He's gone through the Copse corner, coming towards Maggott and Beckett. Gary's
just a little bit behind Bullen out on the track. Those two guys just coming through the first sector checkpoint or up down the Wellington Straight. So just coming under the silverstone.co.uk bridge. I don't know if he's going to be able to get close enough to get some slipstream here, is Gary. I think he's a bit too far behind to benefit off of Bullen's slipstream. As we can see, Bullen just coming into Brooklands now. Little Leach, the current provisional pole sitter, has brought it into the pits, so he's in no position to defend or to respond if any of these guys do topple that current top time here in this session. Bunyip Adventures on his debut, as we mentioned earlier, is currently setting some blistering pace, although it looks like he's got somebody right up his chuff here as he comes around the final turn. So looks like somebody, whoever this is behind him, has closed in on him. As we see Gary there goes P2.
He's just gone second into P2, yeah. I was just watching Bullen on the final corner, sorry to cut you off. Made a mistake, sort of cut the entrance before Luffield. Made a slight mistake that he ended up slowing down for us. This is his last chance. NJ's now dropped to P4 because he's in the pits. Rotti down in 8th, and TJ Humpy still hasn't improved here. As we wait for these guys to cross the line, looks like Gary's going a bit slow there as he's pulled over to one side, or is he just staying out of Bullen, keeping Bullen from getting a slipstream maybe? I think that is TJ Humpy who's just in front of these peg. Gary is 1.2 seconds down on his time and spins there. Yeah, so that's not going to help Gary.
Bullen may have benefited a little bit from the slipstream here as we arrive with Bunyip Adventures just coming through Luffield now. He has got, I think that's TJ Humpy just ahead of him, so TJ Humpy is going to be the next over the line. Currently P10 in this session Is he going to be able to wrestle himself out of that danger zone? It looks like he
no,
can't.
He's not. P10 for him. Bullen's got 5th.
Bullen goes.
And Bunyip Adventure. He's
Position.
put it on pole position by 200ths of a second on his debut. Little Leach wrong to keep it in the pit, to put it back in the pit lane maybe. But Bunyip Adventure on debut gets pole position so far. Superfast Joe's about to cross the line to finish his lap time. And
What an
I don't
introduction.
think there was any improvement there. Yeah, what a fantastic lap from him. A 1 minute 3.5. 200ths of a second over Little Leach. Maybe just caught the back of a slipstream from Bullen maybe on the Wellington straight that gave him a helping hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely fantastic.
It looked like it was that last sector there, because in first and second he was losing about half a tenth, and he gained just over a tenth in that last sector. It was all that run, probably out of Luffield, and he got that toe down the pit straight, or the pit straight on the national circuit.
Yeah.
That was all down to that last part of the lap there. Bunyip Adventure, brilliant to see him on pole position in his opening race. Debut's got off to the perfect start. Whether or not he's going to be able to convert it and finish the job off, we'll have to wait and see. But Little Leach is, I would say, it's not too much of a problem, because obviously there's going to be a lot of drafting in this race. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference, but he's got that mental edge, I guess, over Little Leach. He's proven a point in these early stages of this race, and it's not going to matter in terms of the race, but it might play a factor later on. Who knows? Obviously, we've got a long race left to go.
That's it. One thing you can say is that Little Leach, if he gets off the line well, will have the inside line into turn 1. So what can Bunyip Adventure do on his debut? Little Leach qualified in 2nd with Gary 3rd, NJ 4th, Bullen in 5th, Klaus Martini 6th. But the lights are on and it's green here at Silverstone National, and it looks a good start from Bunyip Adventure. Little Leach looks like he's got away well too, possibly keeping it up the inside, and he does so through turn 1, so the advantage of the inside of the corner there. Now then, this is where the slipstream will take its effect first time round as we head down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Everybody looked cleanly through into turn 1. Bunyip Adventure still side by side with Little Leach. Gary looks like he's going to take the wrong way around, and he's off. He's wide and off, and that's what we were saying in qualifying, Andy. The one mistake you make could really drop you down the grid, and he's all the way down in P9. TJ Humpy's gained 2 places off the start into 8th. Rotti's up to 6th from 8th on the grid, so a good start for him, but Little Leach leads out to turn 1. NJ out the inside of Bunyip Adventure and gets the place for P2. Sorry, Andy.
He's wide there. NJ's gone deep into Brooklands, and it's allowed Bunyip Adventure straight back up the inside, coming through Luffield corner. You can see there. So it looks like Superfast Joe's got a position on Gary, but TJ Humpy is down. It's into 9th place at the moment. It looks like Gary just got a little bit too much onto the. I think he was getting the runoff of the 2 cars in front of him, Little Leach and Bunyip Adventures. He was looking all over them. He had such a good run coming up towards between Cops Corner and Maggots, but he had nowhere to go, and in the end, I think he just didn't realise how much speed he had coming into the corner with the run off of the 2 cars in front of him, and just locked up a bit and ended up going wide onto the grass. It looks like Gary's got a bit of a slowdown penalty as well, because where's that? Sorry, that's Superfast Joe. I do apologise, but yeah, Gary now onto the back of Rotti here for his P5 position. Looks like he's got a nice run here coming down the Wellington straight, but disaster of a start there for him, and he's going to want to make that time up. Obviously, on a hat trick this week, if he can win this race, it will be 3 wins out of the last 3. Gary goes down the outside of Rotti there.
Absolutely drove around the outside of Rotti there. Great confidence in the Clio there for Gary. One thing I will say about Maggots in these cars is that there is sort of a bump as you approach it, as you're going into the braking zone. So I wonder if that bump's just caught him off into the braking zone of Beckett's. Down on the ground to the wood. Great. That's possibly sent him wide as he's tried to catch it, because he was very, very deep. But again, Gary has the work to do here. Rotti down in 6th, TJ Humpy up to 7th place from 10th off the grid, so a good start for him. He's going to want to keep on the back of these 2 in front of him and try and work his way up to the front. NJ has picked up the first time penalty of the race, and look at this, has Bullen battling him here. Bullen side by side with NJ as they head in towards Beckett's, and they touch, and they're both round, and they've managed to keep it together. A bit of a tap there from Rotti on the side of Bullen, but went for a move that ended up tapping the rear quarter of NJ's Clio, and they went sideways, managed to hold it well there, both of them too, but down a place goes NJ as TJ Humpy. Look at this, TJ Humpy and Rotti rubbing with NJ, and onto the grass they go, and they're 4 wide just behind with Gary involved in this, into Luffield here. Absolutely fantastic Clio racing this. Leaning on each other again, TJ Humpy and Rotty are. And look at Gary on exit. All over TJ Humpy. And TJ Humpy tried to squeeze through the middle. They're going to be 3 wide. They're going to come down to the start line to start the 3rd lap of the race. Fantastic Clio race in this. Rotty's on the outside. TJ Humpy in the middle. And TJ Humpy's round.
TJ Humpy and Rotty there. It looked like TJ Humpy was trying to thread the needle going through down the middle, and in the end I think that there was nowhere to go. Rotty was as far over to the left hand side as he could be, and Rotty was just trying to ease it. He was just trying to ease him over the side, and I think there was just nowhere to go there for Rotty. TJ Humpy was trying to get that track position, and in the end there was just no way that was going to work, and those guys now suffering the consequences of just a little bit too aggressive there, I think. But at the moment, it looks like we've got Gary onto the back of NJ, Bullen, and Klaus Martini battling here, coming into Brooklands. But those guys, I don't know, maybe getting a bit too aggressive. Obviously, with the leaders breaking away, you've got guys like Little Leach and Bunyip Adventures pulling out the gap already 4 seconds to our 3rd place man, NJ. But yeah, that was very unnecessary there. TJ Humpy, I think, could have given Rotty a lot more space coming down over the line, coming up towards the turn 1 there, 100%.
There was a bit more space on the right hand side where Gary was. Gary had gave TJ Humpy the room and respect, and TJ Humpy just seemed to come across Rotty there, and disastrous for them both. TJ Humpy down in 10th, Rotty in 8th, on with Bunyip Adventure. He's only half a second off of Little Leach at the moment on his debut. He'll have the slipstream coming down the Wellington Straight.
Gary up into P3 as well, just got the move there on NJ coming through Maggis and Beckett's. But yeah, Bunyip Adventures got pole position earlier on. Little Leach wouldn't have liked that one bit, but obviously Little Leach getting a good run on the first lap, getting that position and getting up into P1. But Bunyip Adventures, I'm sure, is going to want to cement what was a great pole position and take the victory in his debut here tonight. He's still keeping with him. These guys are completely walking away in this battle for the lead. Gary and NJ seem to be giving each other too much of a headache to even start thinking about making inroads on those two. At the moment, the top 2 are in a class of their own, so we can see NJ now making moves to the inside here.
Yeah, looking like the inside into Cop's corner, and he'll probably have the move done. Can he keep it there? Gary's going to look around the outside. They touch on each other, and Gary managed to held it there around the outside of NJ. And they're still side by side as they come down towards Maggots and Beckett's, and this is just typical Clio racing. Gary has the move done, so NJ possibly backed out of that one. And through Beckett's they go then towards the Wellington Straight now.
There's never any grip on the inside of Cop's corner. It's impossible to go up the inside when you're the car that's behind coming into that turn. It's so Gary just had such a much better run on the racing line, on the cleaner part of the track, and NJ in the end had to get out of it so close there to a monumental accident involving those two. But it's allowed Bullen to close right up onto them now. Bullen was a second quicker than both of these boys last time around. NJ's also picked up a penalty from the race director as well, so especially around this track that will hurt him no end if these other guys behind them start to make inroads. In the meantime, we've got Rotty and Superfast Joe currently giving it everything they've got for P6 and 7 at the moment. These guys coming over the line now. Looks like Rotty just about out of harm's way as we see. Klaus Martini getting involved in this action as well. Bit of a lock up there from Superfast Joe as he feels the pressure from Klaus closing right up onto him now. Also, we got...
we go to the back. TJ Humpy's leaning on Leto Melito. And he squeezed it through. Leto Melito's managed to keep it on track. But it looked like TJ Humpy there just kind of squeezed him a bit there like he did to Rotty. A bit aggressive today from TJ Humpy. Now, he had work to make up from the poor qualifying for him, but really aggressive here in the race. It was on about Rotty likes to get his elbows out. TJ Humpy's doing just that today, but all in the wrong moments, and it's not had the best effect for him so far. Rotty's made his way back up into P6. Just going back to Gary and NJ nearly touching there, and Gary's had a bit of unlucky times here. He went wide at turn 1, could have got involved with TJ Humpy and nearly got taken out by Neil as well. So Gary can count himself quite fortunate to still be running P3 in this race.
He can, but he will want to be up there fighting with those guys at the front. As I mentioned earlier, he's had such a good run since he joined this league. In fact, he has got a 100% record in these Clios so far, has Gary, of taking victories. So he's not going to be at all happy with sitting in P3 at the moment. Ultimately, he is still in a podium spot, but he's a competitor and he's been doing bits in our Tier 1 races over the last 2 rounds. So I think he probably...
Oh, there goes Superfast Joe Span coming into Maggot. Sorry, Andy. Superfast Joe into the braking zone, has lost it and has gone well off. He's down into P10. I think he should rejoin the track before Stallion gains on him. Indeed he has, but that's allowed TJ Humpy up into 8th and Leto Melito up into P9 to give Rotti a bit of breathing space as well.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there for Superfast Joe. He was giving those guys, he was giving Rotti, Klaus Martini a really good run, but I didn't see what happened there. He just saw he got off into the gravel. But yeah, well out of the picture as we're seeing. It looks like there's been
now Gary
going on. Gary's dropped down to P5.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I've just seen him on the exit of Luffield, and NJ had already passed him at this time, and I didn't see him cut anywhere. But Bullen's now got past him on a straight line, so he must have had a slow down penalty from somewhere.
Yeah, Gary's got to move down Bullen.
Yeah, he's got Bullen done. Look, coming into Beckett's here, very clean move. One thing that Gary needs to do here is he needs to get his head down. He needs to help him and somebody else need to help each other, slipstream each other a bit, not battle each other too much to gain on them cars in front, because them two in front, Bunyip Adventure slipstreaming Little Each, they're being able to pull away. The gap's now 6.1 to NJ, so they're being able to pull away each lap here with them two. The Little Each defending from Bunyip isn't hurting him like it normally would round any other track, because there's not a lot of corners around here. It's not really hurting Little Each and Bunyip Adventure. They're able to use each other to pull away as the gap is down to a 10th up front. Bunyip Adventure a 10th quicker last time around. Yeah, really getting on the back a Little Each now.
Lovely run there out of Cop's corner. You can see he's right up the chuff here of Little Each. He pulls out to the left hand side here, and at the moment Little Each keeping his car in all the right places and parking his car on the insides of the corners. But I reckon Bunyip Adventures looks a little bit quicker at this point in the race. I don't know if his tyres have been looked after a little bit better, but Little Each is current at the moment. Looks like he's struggling to keep Bunyip Adventures at bay, and I mean, hopefully these guys start to slow down a little bit. No, he's a bit too far back there, I think. But Little Each going a bit deep into Brooklands. Ultimately, Bunyip Adventures not able to capitalise on that for the time being. But what I'm hoping here, Matthew, is that these two do start to have a little bit of a do start to dice a little bit, because ultimately we want to see NJ and Gary and also Bullen as well getting involved in this battle at the front. So yeah, hopefully they can, start throwing a few risky ones at each other. But at the moment, Bunyip Adventure is very content to sit in behind. Obviously, it's his first race here tonight at Motive Racing, so he's just going to want to get a good result on the board. He's probably very happy to sit in behind Little Leach at this point and just bide his time and potentially wait for Little Leach to make a mistake. But I don't think that's very likely to happen. Always we say that Little Leach goes a little bit deep there.
Little Leach was a bit wide there on exit, and how the roles have reversed, because last week it was Little Leach putting the pressure on Rotti as Bunyip Adventures managed to get side by side, then coming down the Wellington Straight. Will be on the outside for the first part of this next section, but if he can keep it round the outside, we'll be on the inside for Luffield. Into the braking zone they go now, and I think he's backed out of that one.
Little Leach very deep into Brooklands. It's going to cost him coming through Luffield.
Possibly be a slowdown. He's got to really slow it down to get it turned in.
Yeah, at the moment, Bunyip Adventure's no way around at the moment, but Little Leach always goes deep into Brooklands. Now, if I was Bunyip Adventures at this point, I would be making a mental note of this and making sure that every time I come into Brooklands, just make sure you put the pressure on him, brake a little bit early, get the nice run, be on the outside for Luffield, and then it's a long process. You've got to think 3 corners ahead from where you're at. If you brake early into Brooklands, you can end up getting the run out of Luffield and getting him down the pit straight. Bunyip Adventure's got to start thinking ahead and trying to suss out exactly how Little Leach is driving. It's pretty clear to me on this on this broadcast exactly where Bunyip Adventures can get this move done, but whether he's dialed into exactly how Little Leach is driving, it remains to be seen. At this point, it looks like he hasn't quite figured him out yet, and that's hurting him a lot.
The last few times I've seen Bunyip Adventure go into this section now, although Little Leach goes deep, Bunyip Adventure doesn't seem to have the confidence to try and just brake a little later and maybe carry a bit more speed. Coming through Luffield is fine. Just that first part, he doesn't seem to have the confidence when Little Leach makes the mistake to capitalise on that. But one thing I will say about Bunyip Adventure, he seems to have a very wise head on his shoulders. He knows it's a long race. He knows he hasn't got to just make the move now. He can, like you say, he can plan it out. He can see where Little Leach is struggling. and he can plan his way through the grid.
Oh, as we see there, Little Leach getting all over the curb on the exit of Cop's Corner now. Bunyip Adventures has surely got this position done. Coming into Maggots, he has indeed. Look, there we go. Bunyip Adventures is up into
and has Little Leach gone? Is he off? He's very wide.
Yeah, he gets all over the place on the outside. They're getting onto the dirty part of the track, but Bunyip Adventures, they're seizing his moment. It's been coming for a few laps now, and we've seen him just trying to figure out exactly where Little Leach is vulnerable, and ultimately Little Leach making a small mistake there in a part of the track where he's usually been pretty solid actually on the exit of Cops, but that time around Bunyip Adventures did not need the second invitation, and a very good opportunistic move there from him. These guys currently lapping very similar lap times to the guys behind them, NJ and Gary. So if Little Leach decides to throw caution to the wind in this particular scenario, then it could maybe bring those guys back into the fold for this race victory here. 16 minutes left, just under half distance here in this Tier 2 race, and these guys up front have so far had a bit of had the show to themselves. So we're hoping.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. We've got some mid-pack battles here. Gary and Bullen are pretty close.
As we jump to Gary now, then can we see Little Leach do to Bullen what Bullen did to Little Leach and set him up with half of this race remaining? So on with Gary and Bullen now then. This is for P4 and 5. Gary can't seem to get back in front of NJ and get claw his way up to the two leaders. So maybe not the hat-trick of wins he'd have wanted, or the way for it to go so far. Bullen and Gary all over each other. Just looking in the background as well, there's TJ Hompey with Leto Melito. Rotti's down to P9, so maybe a mistake somewhere for him. And we know what happened earlier between TJ Hompey and Rotti. So there is TJ Hompey now behind Leto Melito. Can we see anything from him? Nothing so far.
Oh, Rotti getting all sorts of sideways there coming through Brooklands. Didn't cost him too much time in the end. It just looked like he was all over the place. He was locking up, but he's still sticking onto the back of them. But yeah, I think TJ Hompey is going to want to get past Leto Melito as soon as possible. Last time around he was 3 tenths faster.
Coming into the pit lane. Is it a pit stop race?
Could be a drive-through potentially for Rotti, because there's no mandatory pit stop here for the Tier 2 race. So maybe let's have a look at the. Let's have a look. No, it's not fuel. He's got plenty of fuel in the car, so Rotti must be coming in for what I can only assume is a drive-through penalty for maybe jumping the start. I can't remember, what was his start like?
Oh, TJ Humpy's very wide, and he's all over the grass. Manages to keep the slide there, and has dropped well off the back of Leto Melito. Then coming into Beckett's, just seemed to not brake into that corner. Took so much speed as Rotti's left the session. So we've lost Rotti from the race. The championship leader will score no points here. So what has happened there?
Well, that is, quite frankly, that's a silly move there from Rotti. He's leading the championship, got everything to lose at the top of that leaderboard, and he's let the frustration get to his head, and ultimately retired the car when he should have carried on and got the points in the bag. 10th place points. Still, I think 8 or 9 points on the board. It's better than 0. But
consistency is the key in championships. You don't, like you said earlier, he's not actually won a race. You don't have to win a race to win a championship. You've just got to be consistent, and that is gonna really hurt him. As we see Bullen within a second of Gary here, so obviously
I can tell you 100% that Rotti will already be regretting that retirement. But it's easily done in the heat of the moment. When you're in a rut, Rotti in a rut, no pun intended. But like when you're in that situation and you're so frustrated, you just want to get out of it, and then as soon as you pull the plug, you think, oh god, why did I do that?
What have I done? Yeah. And I'm sure we've all had one of them moments over the years of sim racing.
100%, and he's thrown away his championship lead here in one swift action. It might have been. He might have still had a chance of holding on to it or being somewhere near the top of the standings had he carried on and kept in those points. He would have finished in 10th had he kept on going to the flag. So Rotti still probably with a chance of finishing the top 5 this season. He's most likely going to end up in Tier 1 next season as it stands. But if he doesn't, he will probably live to rue that particular moment there. As we're seeing at the moment, we've got Bunyip Adventures still holding off Little Leach after making that move a couple of laps ago. NJ and Gary separated by 1.3 seconds. Looks like Gary is starting to reel him in
Yeah, it looks like he's leading him. But he's taking Bullen with him as well. Bullen and NJ with a time penalty. You see the red marker over their name indicating they've got a penalty from the race director. Bullen following Gary through, and again not the strongest to show him from Bullen like we saw at Laguna Seca, but a good showing here. Little Leach try and seize up where Bunyip Adventure is weaker on the circuit. Then we've seen Bunyip Adventure attack. Now we have to see him defend while Gary hunts down NJ. Bullen trying to go with him, and TJ Humpy within a second of Leto Melito, still running in 8th place after what can only be described as not the best of races for him, especially after last week's brilliant 2nd place.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare for TJ Humpy. He came into this round 3rd in the standings on 84 points, but it's going to drop him down the order. He will probably take some solace from the fact that Rotti retired from this race, so he will most likely, I think, end up pretty close to him on the championship. Always we see Leto Melito.
Melito very wide.
Yeah, coming through on the
wide car. I know the car. I know you want to slide the car a little bit to get it turned in a bit better, but not that much.
No, he's
Leto Melito now well off the slipstream down the Wellington Straight as we head in towards Brooklands. Then Klaus Martini, been a quiet race for him in P6. Stallion, I do believe this is his debut as well. Quiet race we see is about to get lapped here by the 2 leaders, Bunyip Adventure and Little Leach.
Leto Melito doing his personal best there. Now that's probably due to the fact that he has got pressure coming from behind. He's got TJ Humpy Klaus Martini doing his personal best, to apologise. And Klaus Martini obviously has Leto Melito and TJ Humpy reeling him pretty quickly now. Last lap, Leto Melito only gained a 10th on him, so it seems like Klaus Martini is responding to what he's seeing in his mirrors. But as you say, he's had a quiet race, but some very solid points here.
We had a slight change for the lead then. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Slight change for the lead then, as we saw Little Leach on the screen, timing screens, was above Bunyip Adventures, but Bunyip back in front now. So was there a problem overtaking the back marker or not? Not quite sure, but TJ Humpy got the move done on Leto Melito. Look at TJ Humpy's last lap, lapping up there with the leaders. So he's got the pace today. He couldn't find it in qualifying. He's got the race pace.
All sorts of out of shape there coming through Brooklands, and that's going to be job done there for TJ Humpy up into 7th place. But surely not.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness me! I thought he was done and dusted there, but Leto Melito getting aggressive and getting a bit too aggressive for my liking there, coming through into Luffield. I thought that maybe he could have not pushed him out of the way in such a way. I suppose he could argue that TJ Humpy should have given him the space on the inside, but I thought TJ Humpy had pretty much got that move done. TJ Humpy now has got the run here coming out of Copse Corner up towards Maggots now. These guys are going to go side by side. It looks like Leto Melito's got the inside, but TJ Humpy's going to have the inside for Beckett, and he's got the move done. There we go. So TJ
gets it stopped in as well. So good there from TJ Humpy. Gary's dropped well off the back of NJ, I noticed during all that. Little Leach has got the lead here, and Bunyip Adventure just picked himself up a time penalty, so not what he'd have wanted on his debut. So we didn't see how that happened as we were watching the battle further back, but Little Leach leads from Bunyip Adventure with a time penalty. I was about to say Gary's dropped well off the back of NJ and is back into the clutches of Bullen, who had dropped off previously. So a few people making a few mistakes here. Although Gary's not picked himself up a time penalty, he keeps seeming to reel NJ in and then just make a slight mistake and drop off the back of him. And then gain again as we're on board with him now. And Bullen looks side by side as they head down towards Beckett's. Is Bullen going to get the move done in the braking zone? No, brakes a bit earlier than Gary. And Gary stays in front so far. Can they reel NJ in then with just under 8 minutes to go? This for a final podium.
I was going to say about Bunyip Adventures quickly, because it's been a cautious. It's been a very cagey race from him. Obviously, he got the lead off of Little Leach when Little Leach made that small mistake on the exit of Copse, getting on the curve a little bit too much. But it's been a really, really solid race for Bunyip Adventures, and he hasn't really taken too many risks on his debut tonight. But I suspect with that penalty and now down into 2nd place, he might start throwing caution to the wind a little bit more. Now he's really got to put his cards on the table if he wants to get this win. He's not only got to get ahead of Little Leach, but he's also got to pull out at least 1 second. Let's have a look actually, because I can look at the timings without it coming up on the screen.
Yeah.
So
did Little Leach force him into penalty? So it's not too bad. Did Little Leach force the penalty sort of thing by pressuring Bunyip Adventure that much to make a slight mistake and just cut a corner somewhere As Bullen, NJ and Gary battling as they head down towards Beckett's. This for third place. Gary will know the penalty of NJ and Bullen, as you'll be able to see it on his screen. And they head down now the Wellington Straight. You see the back marker of Stallion just in front of these guys, but it's a three-way battle here for the final podium position. Bunyip Adventure 3/10 off the back of Little Leach. He'll know where Little Leach is weak already as well, Andy, so he'll know where to overtake him and get the job done. But it's just pulling away without and breaking the slipstream.
100%. And at the moment, Little Leach will probably take solace from the fact that Bunyip Adventures has got that 1 second penalty. He will be able to see that on his info screen. As we see there, Little Leach getting a slow run there out of Cops. Bunyip Adventures has got the slipstream, but he's not going to be able to make it into Maggots or Beckett's. By the looks of it, it's too far back. But yeah, Little Leach knows that even if Bunyip Adventures does get past him, he's only got to stick to the back of him, and he can bring it home and take the victory. So the pressure's all on Bunyip Adventures at this point.
Got a great run coming out of Exeter Beckett's, but has to tuck back into the slipstream. This is where we've seen Little Leach a bit weaker than Bunyip Adventures. And does he pull out? He's really got to think about sending one up the inside, or just being a bit braver around the outside. He's got to got to get past and break the toe. As Little Leach a bit wide there coming through Luffield. But nothing that Bunyip Adventures
rooted to the apex. Yeah, sticking to the corner and coming around Luffield, but. Little Leach seems to definitely be getting reeled in the straights. Bunyip Adventures probably has a slightly looser setup on that car, but Little Leach seems to be going deep into the corners, but manages to maintain that mid-corner speed. So clearly he's got some form of... he's got a pretty nailed-down setup, has Little Leach, around this track. Something which works for him, and he's maintaining his straight-line speed. Oh,
NJ has tapped the back marker Stallion and has spun Stallion round. I don't know if Stallion had not got out of the way or if NJ was just trying to force the manoeuvre coming through Cop's corner, but he's spanning. That's gifted Gary and Bullen third and fourth with the time penalty he had. That's not what he'd have wanted against Bullen. He'd want to have finished in front of them. I'm not sure and not aware of the penalties, what they are at the moment, so I couldn't tell you what Bullen's got that NJ hasn't.
Yeah,
but
so
Gary
Bullen
now
and NJ
up
with
into
the same
pink
penalty. Those guys.
So there we go. He's
threw
away a fourth place there.
Yeah, Gary's looking very, very good for this place. Not only does he need to, he just needs to keep Bullen behind him, but even if Bullen does get in front of him, Bullen would still need to pull out that 1 second gap. So Gary looking good for his third consecutive podium here in Tier 2. Doesn't get his hat-trick of wins that we were suggesting might happen this week. Obviously, he took the win at Laguna and at Sonoma last week as well. So Gary, I'm sure, will be reasonably happy with third place, considering the race that he's had. It has been a topsy-turvy evening tonight, and he will hopefully go into the Tier 1 race with a bit of experience under his belt after this one. But he's been through the ringer tonight, and I'm sure he's going to be pretty delighted with that third place, because it's everything that has gone wrong, in a sense.
It has tonight, and I'm sure he'd have wanted the hat-trick of wins to really try and put himself in that championship fight going into next week, the final round. Little Leach will be sitting pretty though at the top, with Rotti disconnecting then. Be sitting pretty at the top of the standings, and he's been consistent. I know he missed Sugo, but I think he's been on the podium in every round apart from the one he missed. So he's been consistent at the top as Little Leach, and looks set to take another win here tonight as Bunyip Adventure is still trying to pressure him. TJ Humpy's made his way past Superfast Joe has passed Leto Melito further down the order. TJ Humpy running 7th and gaining on the back of Klaus Martini then, as NJ has just passed Bullen over the start line, I see there. So NJ back into 4th.
And these guys crucially with identical 1 second penalties, so that is track position, that is 4. That will be 4 position by the time we get to the flag. Yeah. He's
got his wipers on. I don't think it's raining, so he must have caught the button on his steering wheel, but the wipers are on that car.
One thing we know is that he's definitely not driving with cockpit view then.
No, he's definitely not. Unless there's some weather coming that we don't know about, but I can't see any rain. Lovely evening at Silverstone, but NJ's got the wipers on, and I tell you what, has got the move done on Bullen and has pulled out a heck of a gap. A 3 second gap to Bullen, so has Bullen had a bit of a slowdown penalty somewhere? We see in the background though, Klaus Martini being caught on by TJ Humpy as they come down the Wellington Straight and head towards Brooklands. TJ Humpy's been very aggressive tonight. We've seen on some overtakes. Will he be aggressive into these final 2 corners? He has a time penalty as well, so I want to pass Klaus Martini as soon as possible and pull away so that he can try and stay in that top 5. Like you say, there's 6 or 7 drivers that could finish in the top 5 come the end of the season. With Rotty disconnecting, that gives the likes of TJ Humpy and Gary, NJ, Littleleach, Bullen the opportunity to pull some points clear of Rotty, or gain points on Rotty, should I say. He hasn't got the move done this time round. 1 minute 40 left on the clock. Should be time for 1, if not 2 more laps, as we see the leaders heading in towards Brooklyn now. Gap 0.6 of a second, so Littleleach just seem to be a bit settled now. That's the biggest we've seen the gap between the leaders pretty much all race.
Yeah, I think the Bunyip Adventures tyres are starting to go off a little bit, and he might be struggling in the dirty air behind Littleleach. I say 0.4 of a second, quite a big margin in these Clios, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be able to get him. We're going to have 2 more laps by the looks of it, though, because we're crossing the line with 1 minute and 8 seconds left on the clock. And it takes about 1 minute and 3, 1 minute and 4 to go round. So this is the penultimate lap of the race. Bunyip Adventures is going to have to get past him pretty sharpish, though, because he's got that 1 second penalty. And I think Littleleach has more or less got this one in the bag.
100% agree with you. And hats off to these two. They've had a bit of a battle on track. Nothing major, but they've pulled out 12.5 seconds to Gary. And NJ what has happened to Bullen? He's in the pit lane. I've just seen him drop down the order behind Klaus Martini and TJ Humpy.
He's out of fuel.
He's out of fuel.
He's gone out of fuel. He's just ran out of fuel on the entry to the pit lane. He didn't even make it into the pit box.
Oh, disaster!
He will score the points for P10, I think, because he completed 90% of the over 90% of the race distance.
Disaster for him.
Points. Bullen drops down from P4 down to P10, which will definitely hurt his chances of getting in that top 5.
Here as well. Just disconnected on my screen.
He may have thrown away his chances of promotion to Tier 1. He's going to need an absolute dream race next week in our final round at Monza Short. He's going to need to get the win, at least, if he wants to stand any chance of getting in that top 5. But that is really unfortunate there for Bullen. As we see here, Bunyip Adventures having a move, making a move up the inside of Littleleach. He's up into the lead, but obviously with the 1 second penalty, Bunyip Adventures, though, Scott Littleleach still alongside him here. We're side by side coming up towards Brooklands, and it looks like
they will lead on each other. Nothing after that.
Very naughty there from Bunyip Adventures. Obviously, he knows about the 1 second penalty for Littleleach, and Littleleach has just got to stick with him now. Obviously, that was a completely crazy move there from Bunyip Adventures. And
look at this!
Back. Oh my goodness, look at this!
They bleed on each other again. It's like a game of bumper cars as they head down towards the line. Bunyip Adventures looked like he's going to take it on the track, but with the time penalties, will drop to 2nd place. And he saved it till the last lap to make the manoeuvres. So it's not enough for him. Littleleach takes the win from Bunyip Adventure. Gary is going to come home and cross the line P3 in what's been a recovery drive, to say the least, for him. NJ is going to come and take P4. I was about to say before you got into Littleleach and Bunyip Adventures that Littleleach had an off again, and TJ Humpy had
contact out of left field. We got contact between P5 and 6. It looks
like TJ's round.
Klaus Martini takes him out of left field, and he's waiting for him. So sportsman-like there, but Klaus Martini's going to lose lots of places because TJ is taking his merry time about getting going again. So I think Klaus
has TJ ran out of fuel.
I don't know. Yes, he has.
So that might be why. I wonder if Supervised Joe has got past Klaus Martini with Klaus slowing down then for TJ Humpy. Supervised Joe takes P5. Klaus gets 6. Leto Melito comes home in 8th. TJ Humpy is still sat there in 9th. I do believe that Stallion has finished a lap down. So TJ Humpy 8th. I wonder if that's why Klaus Martini has caught TJ Humpy then.
That was the thing, because TJ Humpy ran out of fuel on the extra field, and Klaus Martini was unknowings to this and just kept his foot planted, and in the end TJ Humpy just stopped dead in front of him, so that was the reason for the contact coming out of left field. So I thought that was those two getting too aggressive, but ultimately it was just TJ Humpy's fuel running dry. Disaster there for him. He loses a couple of places there on the last lap, but what a race we have just had.
Fantastic.
I cannot believe it. 2 of the guys in the thick of it battling for that final promotion spot, both running out of fuel with a couple of laps to go. So I suppose each of them
three
take
of
some consolation from the fact. Yes, 3. So all of them can take consolation from the fact that there's several other guys doing the same thing, so it's going to keep the battle wide open.
That's going to bring the championship even closer for the last round.
So Little Each is your race winner from Bunyip Adventure on debut. He does take the fastest lap, so well done to you. Gary will finish off the podium, but what a night of racing. TJ Humpy and I forgot the other guy's name. Begins with a B. I forgot his name. It's gone. Bullen. TJ Humpy Bullen running out of fuel there at the end. Obviously misjudging the fuel. Not sure what happened with Rotty. Entered the pit lane then disconnected. So a poor night for him. But for Little Each, he'll take the championship lead going into the final race of the season. And that has opened things up then. Wow, what a race.
All comes down to next week. Now we've got several guys who are going to be in with a chance of getting into that top 5. So Bullen, TJ Humpy, and obviously the heartbreak earlier on in the race for so many drivers. It's just thrown it's so in the balance now for next week. I can't wait for the finale at Monza Short. It's going to be incredible. Stay tuned. Make sure you tune in, guys, next week for the Tier 2 finale at 7 o'clock UK time. It's going to be incredible. Absolutely.
It's going to go down to the wire. You could see some manoeuvres that they're just going to be people just chucking it in anywhere to just make sure they can get that top 5. The top 5 to get into Tier 1 is going to be so important for people, and obviously the championship as well for those who are still in contention. But yeah, join us next week where it's going to be very, very interesting to watch.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a short break before the Tier 1 race, so stay tuned for that coming up in just a couple of moments. And we thank you for joining us for the Tier 2, so be back shortly.
Really? But they stopped developing it though. Wait, who? Take your word for it. I think we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel for the Tier 1 race of the Clio Cup this evening. We're still at Silverstone National. We were just live on air a few moments ago for the Tier 2 race, and we're back on for the big boys, the creme de la creme of Clio Cup drivers here on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation 4 platform. If you're just joining us live on the Motive Racing channel, big welcome along. Thank you for joining us for the coverage as we're about to get underway for the qualifying session. This could be the round where the only G, the championship leader here in the Clio Cup, takes his first ever Clio Cup crown here at Motive Racing. It's the one that's got away from him over the past few seasons, Rav. I'm sure he's going to want to clinch it tonight. He only needs to finish 11th in this sprint race in order to take the title.
Indeed, I want to thank you very much for having me here in Silverstone. This is your home country and your home track. I reckon this is going to be a very tight race with very fast lap time for these lads here in the Tier 1. I already got that, I don't know, not on the stream yet. Only G is indeed a big contender for the title. But keeping an eye on Motoring Morgan, there's always a chance to take the victory here.
Yeah, Motoring Morgan, the double champion of the Clios here at Motive Racing. He's more than likely not going to win it this season. He's got an extremely outside chance of taking it. The gap between G and Morgan coming into this round, 105 points with 111 left to race for. So it is, as I say, an extremely unlikely occurrence that Morgan could take it from G. But obviously it's still mathematically possible. So if G were to retire from every single one of the final 4 races and Morgan were to win every single one of them, then Morgan would be champion. But Rav, that's not going to happen because G has been scarily consistent over the course of this season and very, very rarely puts a foot wrong in these Clios. So I think G has got to be the favourite to take the championship tonight, as we see there G moving over to let Morgan get into some clear air. G doing some quite puzzling weaving there as he came over the start finish line. Morgan comes over the line to do the first flying lap of the session, a 1 minute 3.4 for him. Pretty solid from him so far here in this session. But yeah, who's your favourite for the win tonight, Rav? Morgan, G, lots of fast guys out there.
Just a few moments ago we saw the only G holding the car at the start finish line like it was a dance. So I take it as an omen. Only G will take the victory and will take the championship here in Motive Racing on the Silverstone National Circuit.
So there you have it, guys. I'm going to say that tonight, I reckon Motoring Morgan, having been the champion of the Clio Cup over the past 2 seasons, is going to want to go out on this season in a high. Obviously with 2 rounds left to go, he's not going to retain his title that he's won for the last 2 seasons, but I'm sure he's going to be pretty determined to make sure that he gives a good account of himself over these last 2 rounds. G is obviously going to take the title tonight. We know that, barring any unbelievably catastrophic events for him. But my money's on Morgan to go contrary to you, Rev. I think Motoring Morgan is going to take this sprint race tonight, but I'm sure that G will wrap up the title. But obviously let us know in the comments section who you guys think is going to take the win tonight in this Tier 1 race. We've got a few comments coming in the stream already in relation to the Tier 2 race that we just saw. We had Craig Leach, otherwise known as Little Leach, saying great race lads. Little Leach was the race winner, had a great battle with Bunyip Adventures throughout the duration of that one. In the end took the win based on Bunyip Adventures' 1 second penalty. We saw them going absolutely bumper to bumper as they came out of the last corner. We've also got a comment in from Mark Nairn saying well done, awesome, always check your fuel. Yeah, Ralph, I don't know if you were watching the Tier 2 race a few moments ago, but we had 3 drivers running out of fuel merely, well, 2 of them on the last lap, merely meters from the line, and one of them a couple of laps from the end. So these guys are going to have to be wary, making sure that their fuel tanks are filled to the max tonight. It's definitely going to be a bit of a banana skin for some of these boys.
Oh no, we ran out of fuel. Oh my days, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I wish not even my worst opponent this.
I imagine that maybe Morgan, deep down, might be wishing that G runs out of fuel in this race, because that's the only way that he's going to be able to win this championship. As we said, Morgan 105 points behind G in the championship coming into this round, with 111 on the table. I mean, it's so unlike, sorry, 140, I do apologise, 140. So it's such a long shot. It really is. As we see these two guys trading the fastest lap of the session. Currently G puts it on provisional pole on a 1 minute 2.9, just 500ths of a second separating these two boys at the top of the after this session left to go. G currently 13 thousandths down on his personal best through the first sector, but it is nip and tuck between these boys. John Boy and Shoulders pretty close in 3rd and 4th, 6/10 off the pace. You've got Nathan Rutter sat 5th, just under a second off the pace. Emo Guy in P6, just over a second behind. We've got Melted Dazza and Superfast Joe, who joined us in the Tier 2 race, racing as a reserve for this one. Smoky Devil, Nick the Villa currently lining up in P10 as it stands. We've got Fury in 11th and DJ Field still yet to set a lap, as it looks like G is up on his personal best here coming through the middle sector. Let's see how he does coming up and over the line now. Currently P1 here in this session, the only G champion-elect surely for this Clio Cup, and he's lost a couple of tenths there in the final sector as he comes into the pits. Morgan also does the same. We're seeing now John Boy is 2 tenths up in the very first sector of the lap, and he's gonna maybe get the benefit of a bit of slipstream here. Is John Boy currently P3 at the moment in this qualifying session? Has he got the run? Is he the blue and black car? I think he is. He might get a little bit held up here actually. No, he's not. He's the white, red and blue car, and he's trying to go around the outside there of what I think might be Fury. He's still up on his personal best though. Maybe John Boy could put himself in amongst the top 2 here on this latest lap. As I said, currently 3rd place in this qualifying session. He's going to get a lovely draft off of these two teammates up ahead of him. And John Boy comes over the line and gets pretty close there, Ravi. Only 2/10 of a second behind G and Morgan. John Boy's very much on the pace tonight so far.
Let's see what John Boy is going to do on the view of where he backs off.
Oh, Emo Guy goes straight on onto the gravel on the exit of Maggots. So that's going to put pay to his chances of improving his lap time. He's currently sat P7 at the moment, is Ian, in this session. We've got John Boy here just coming down the Wellington straight at the moment. He's sat just behind Emo Guy. Is that on the track? No, it's Nick the Villa there, just ahead of John Boy on the track, and John Boy getting a little bit held up there as he came into Luffield. That will not have helped him at all. Nick the Villa eventually getting out of the way, so John Boy's lap pretty much ruined there. He's coming into the pits, so he's not expecting to go quicker at the moment. We've got Melted Dazza currently sat 4th at the moment in this qualifying session. Let's see if he can put himself ahead of John Boy maybe with this latest attempt as he comes through out onto the pit straight now. What is this going to be for Melted Dazza? He stays P4 at the moment, can't improve his lap time. Shoulders currently sat in 5th at the moment, 6/10 off of that provisional pole time. He's just coming into Brooklands. He's 3/10 down on his personal best at this point. I can't imagine him finding 3/10 of a second through Luffield and Woodcote. Here's Nathan Rutter, got a bit of slipstream up ahead of him. Might benefit as he comes over the line. Let's keep an eye on him. Let's see what Nathan Rutter does on the top left. Doesn't look like he improved on his lap that last time around. No, he didn't. Stays P6 at the moment. Got a couple of comments coming in from Klaus Martini saying good luck to all the drivers. Klaus Martini was driving in the Tier 2 race a few moments ago. Good to see him watching on the stream, and also on his other account he's commenting on Twitch and on YouTube saying good luck friends on his YouTube channel there. Good to see. Guys, let us know in the comments section who your favourite is for this Tier 1 sprint race here. We've got G currently sat on provisional pole, and he's improved his lap time as well. He's done a 102.7. He's put almost a couple of tenths between himself and Morgan at the moment in this classification. John Boy 4 tenths off of that pole time. A long gap back to Melted Dazza and Shoulders in 4th and 5th. Emo Guy just over a second off of the true pace at the moment. We're riding on board with our man in P2, reigning champion of Motive Racing's Clio Cup division here, but not for much longer, because the Only G is very likely going to wrap this one up by the time we finish this evening. Only G improves his lap time marginally there, and it looks like he's gone off at Cop's corner, so we've got a yellow flag there. G in the end gets it together, but I think he's probably imminently about to pit, and I think Morgan's about to do the same. So we're riding on board now with John Boys. He's coming through Woodcut with a bit of slipstream up ahead of him, might benefit him a little bit. He'll be wanting to get in amongst the thick of it with these top two, G and Morgan. John Boy comes over the line, can't improve that time around, stays P3 for the time being. Rav, I'm just having a look at the standings at the moment. Nathan Rutter and sorry, sorry, you don't need to do that. It's alright, we don't need to do that. It's fine. It's fine. We just the top left. But Nathan Rutter and Melted Daz are separated by 1,000th of a second at the moment in 4th and 5th. Incredibly close stuff in the mid pack. We've got a comment coming in from the Only G, saying that it's going to be close and he's feeling scared. Well, I wouldn't be too scared, G. You're going to be at the sharp end. You're currently sat on provisional pole, so all you've got to do is stay there, and if you win this race, I think it'll be the championship. He needs to be, I think he needs to be 108 points. He needs to be 109 points ahead after this sprint race to take the championship. So if he wins the sprint race, then he will be the champion of the Clio Cup before we even start the feature. So obviously this sprint race is round 9 of 12 of the season, so wrapping it up with 3 races to go would be quite a feat. He's been totally flawless this season in the Clios, has the Only G. It's been remarkable driving from him since the get-go. He suffered a heartbreaking loss in the final race of the season last season at Monza Short, where him and Morgan came into that race, I think more or less tied on points. In the end, Morgan took the championship by 0.004 of a second. This time around, G has put his previous mistakes behind him and is really responded fantastically, has not put a foot wrong throughout the course of this season. It's looking very likely that he is going to take this championship tonight. As I say, if he takes the win in the sprint race, then that is it. It's done and dusted. I'm sure Morgan's going to want to try and prolong it as long as he can. And as I say, if G does end up running out of fuel, then I'm sure that will bring a small smile to Morgan's face. It will at least extend the battle to the final round, possibly next week at Monza Short. We've got a comment coming in from Fury's granddad here. Yes, I'm here. Come on, Fury. Good to have Fury's granddad in the comment section as usual. Always great to have Fury's family popping up in the chat. And Fury currently a little bit down the order this evening, actually. Sat in 11th place, 1.7 seconds off the pace. I'm sure we'll be seeing an improvement from him. There we go, there it comes. Moves himself up into P8 there with a lovely lap. 1.2 seconds off the pace still. I reckon that he's probably got a little bit more in his locker though. I reckon Fury could probably get it up into P5 if he really pushes it. So come on, Fury, let's get an absolute smash of a lap there on this final run from you. Let's get you up into that top 5. We've got a comment from Bunyip Adventures here saying, Love my first Clio Cup race, epic stuff. Drove very nicely tonight by your pit benches, it must be said. And you got a little bit unlucky with the penalty. If it wasn't for that, then you know you could have been the race winner tonight. So honestly, great debut from yourself, and keep up the good work. It's a shame that you joined mid-season, and obviously you aren't in contention for a promotion spot. But if anybody drops out of Tier 1, then I'm sure that he will be getting a wildcard entry into Tier 1 because he's got bags of pace on tonight's evidence. And we're seeing there Melted Dazza coming over the line, stays P4 on that lap. John Boy got within 400ths of Motoring Morgan there, almost putting it on the front row. Looks like he's done for the session now, but very close there to splitting the two great rivals here in this Clio Cup division. That is that for the qualifying session, guys. So the only G taking one step closer to taking his first ever title in the Clio Cup here at Motive Racing. 0.2 of a second on pole to Motoring Morgan. Stand by, guys, for the sprint race. Is the only G going to take it? Let us know in the comments section. Welcome along, everybody, to the sprint race for the Tier 1 tonight for the Clio Cup at Motive Racing. Can the only G take the title tonight? We're about to go lights out here at Silverstone International. It looks like we're underway. And looks like a good getaway from the only G off the line. Motoring Morgan likewise gets away pretty well. It looks like these guys are going to lead into the first corner. John Boy holding on for P3 there, ahead of Melted Dazza as we come through Cop's corner. But a perfect start there from the two main rivals here in this Clio Cup. We've got John Boy. Nathan Rutter's got himself up ahead of Melted Dazza, up into 4th place. Good stuff there from him. It looks like we've also got Shoulders into 6th. Emo going down to 7th place. It looks like Shoulders has got it up into 5th place ahead of Melted Dazza there. Great stuff. Nathan Rutter though with a good start there up into 4th place. And we've also got Fury making gains into 8th. We've got Superfast Joe, Nick the Villa, Smoky Devil down into 11th place, and DJ Phil at the back of the field. But Motoring Morgan has got ahead of only G there, coming through on the exit of Beckett's, and he's up into the lead as we see Smoky Devil now all over the back of Nick the Villa in the battle for P10. Superfast Joe currently running in the mid-pack at the moment, just behind Emo Guy and Fury. Fury looking to the outside here of Emo Guy, but he can't quite get it around the outside of Luffield at the moment. Emo Guy going side by side with Melted Dazza though as we come through Woodcote, but Motoring Morgan got that position done when he needed to there on the only G. He's going to try and prolong this championship battle until the feature race if he can, and he's doing it very nicely. John Boy though all over the back of G. Is he going to go up the inside here of Cops? It looks like he does. John Boy is going to hold it on the inside. G trying to keep it around the outside there, getting all over the curb on the exit, and it looks like G might hold it on the outside of Maggots. Let's see as we come into the corner now. G does hold on for that P2, and it looks like Nathan Rutter now attacking in the background. Nathan Rutter has got himself ahead of John Boy up into 3rd place. Very opportunistic move there from Nathan Rutter. Very nicely done indeed. We've got still John Boy trying to hold off Shoulders and Melted Dazzler and Emo Guy very, very close to these guys as well. Superfast Joe, Fury, Nick the Villa, Smoky Devil and DJ Phil at the back. G having to defend now from Nathan Rutter, and John Boy making another move to the inside of Brooklyn's here. We've got 3 wide in the background. Fury in the middle of it. It looks like Fury there getting pushed out a little bit there with Superfast Joe and Nick the Villa. Incredible stuff there from those guys coming through left field now. And G in the end looks like he's managed to weather that storm ahead of Nathan Rutter, but Nathan Rutter trying to fend off John Boy now. Unbelievable racing here in the opening couple of laps as these guys come over the start finish line to complete lap 2 of the race. At the moment it's Motoring Morgan leading the way by 0.3 of a second. G sat P2, Nathan Rutter, John Boy, Shoulders, Emo Guy. This is the pack of about, in fact the entire field separated by 4 seconds at the moment, Rav. 11 cars separated by 4 seconds. DJ Phil seems to have dropped a little bit off with these guys in P12 at the moment. As we ride on board now with Emo Guy, you can see there 5 cars in a train in front of him, and it looked like Nathan Rutter went a little bit wide there, but I think it looks like John Boy's got a slowdown penalty on the exit of Beckett's. He's going to have to back off, so that's promoted Shoulders up into P4. John Boy losing the position there to Emo Guy, and it looks like Melted Dazzler in the mirrors there on the left hand side. You can see Melted Dazzler making a move to the inside of Emo Guy. Is he going to have the position done? It looks like he does. Melted Dazzler there on the left hand side of your screen coming through, and John Boy follows him through as well. So there we go. It looks like Emo Guy losing 2 places there in one corner coming through Brooklands. He will not be happy with that at all, and now you can see John Boy having a look to the inside of Melted Dazzler at the moment, but he can't quite get the run, I think, coming out onto the start finish straight. Well, it looks like he is actually still staying on the inside there. John Boy might fancy his chances coming into Cops. Melted Dazzler on the left of your screen, John Boy on the right, riding on board with Emo Guy. It looks like that is John Boy up into P5. Emo Guy now fancying his chances on the inside of Melted Dazzler. He's going to have the outside for Cops Corner as we ride on board with Nick the Villa just behind these guys. You can see there Emo Guy sticking it around the outside of Maggots, inside for Beckett's, and it looks like Melted Dazzler on the brakes, runs a bit deep on the exit of Beckett's, and that's Emo Guy up into P6. In the meantime, Shoulders currently sat P4 at the moment. This is the battle for the lead. Motoring Morgan still leading this race by absolutely nothing at the moment. G hounding and hassling him, and G is going up the inside there of Brooklands. He's holding it on the inside, he rides over the curb and he's got the position done. The only G up into the lead, but Morgan backs him up again. Brilliant driving from Morgan, responds immediately coming into Luffield and back up into the lead. Nathan Rutter now trying to pull alongside G. What racing we are seeing on the opening few laps. This is non-stop action here at Motive Racing tonight in the Clio Cup for the penultimate round of the season. The only G came into this round knowing he needed to win this sprint race to secure the championship with 3 rounds to spare. He will win the championship tonight, there's no doubt about that, but Morgan is going to give it absolutely everything to try and deny him for as long as he can. Nathan Rutter and Shoulders just watching this unfold. Sorry, Rav.
Oh man, I'm smiling from it. It's action-packed racing. Everybody is trying to attack and defend at the same time, as we see with the battle on front with Motoring Morgan and OMG. This is awesome racing. Also in the back of the pack, we saw Fury. I think
Fury's dropping back a little bit off these guys at the moment. Superfast Joe and John Boy separated by nothing. This is the pack 4 battling over P5. Emo Guy, Nick the Villa, Superfast Joe and John Boy separated by under half a second. 4 guys are currently battling over, as I said, 5th place, but Emo Guy doing a good job of holding off Nick the Villa at the moment. John Boy might have to run on Superfast Joe though as they come out onto the start finish straight. I think he's a bit too far back to go for a move into Cops, but it's as you were with these guys at the moment. As we see, it looked like Nick the Villa had a little bit of a trip over the grass there as he came through Cops Corner, but managed to keep onto it. We're seeing a battle developing at the front though. Rav, looks like G and Morgan side by side here, coming out onto the Wellington straight, and Morgan cuts him up there, says no you're not, and G there has to tuck in behind. If G hadn't tucked in and jumped into the slipstream of Morgan, then Nathan Rutter would have been pouncing on that, but currently nowhere to go for him. We're riding on board with Shoulders, sat P4, just watching this unfold. What must Shoulders be thinking? He must be licking his lips at the idea that he might be able to feast on the remains. If any of these guys do start coming together or running into each other, he could be on for his first win in the Clio Cup. Could Shoulders, he's right there waiting to capitalise if anything happens to one of these 3 guys.
I highly doubt that, because the front best drivers here in Motive Racing history. There's only G and Motoring Morgan fighting out in the battle. telling you, man. I'm also very proud of driving the motivation history. And I think the shoulders will fight, but we'll get on the boat. And yeah, it is small. One mistake is gone, but I don't think these guys will make mistakes.
Well, we'll have to see, but they put on a hell of a show so far. I want to say a big thank you to the 30 people watching across YouTube and Facebook. If you want to get involved in the action here at Motive Racing, then go to the links in the description and get involved in our Discord server. Sign up that way as we see G trying to get it around the outside of Morgan coming through Luffield, and now Nathan Rutter is going to have the run here coming through Woodcote. Nathan Rutter fancying his chances of getting up into P2. Morgan there giving the slipstream to Nathan as he came through Woodcote. So interesting tactics here from Motoring Morgan, and at the moment G looks like he's going to have to concede that position. Motoring Rutter is up into P2 as we see now Shoulders getting involved. Shoulders moves to the left hand side with 3 wide here, coming up towards Maggot's corner. You can see there was G on the far side. Looks like Shoulders up into P2. Shoulders opportunistically there, diving down the inside as G and Nathan Rutter got a little bit out of shape, having to avoid each other. So Shoulders now finds himself right up the chuff of the race leader Motoring Morgan. This is unbelievable racing here so far. Don't count out Shoulders for the race win, Rav. I'm telling you that. He's going to be there. He's going to be fighting for this one, I tell you.
Yes, that is correct, but it's not open to the pit lane 6.
100%.
Nathan Rutter and possibly Shoulders, that is correct.
We're side by side here as we come over the line to complete lap 8 at this one. A bit of door banging there as G tries to squeeze Shoulders out. Shoulders having none of it. G is up the inside though of Cops, and now Nathan Rutter has got the run, but G cuts him off there. No way around him at the moment. Shoulders loses out 2 positions there, but he's still on the inside of Nathan as they come into Maggots. Nathan's going to have to give him the space there on the left hand side. You can see keeping it very tight to the apex there, Nathan Rutter, and it looks like he's up into 3rd place ahead of Shoulders, and these guys still separated by 1.5 seconds. This has actually allowed Morgan to break away just a little bit on these guys. Now they've been battling, it's almost a second. Morgan was very, very close to breaking out of the slipstream there, but it looks like these guys have just about kept in touch. 35 people now watching across YouTube and on Facebook. Big thank you to everybody. Let us know in the comments section who you think is going to take this one out of these top 4 guys. Morgan, G, Nathan Rutter or Shoulders. What a fight these guys are putting on so far.
Okay, let's have a take a look at the penalties as I see. I don't know if you can see it. It has 2 seconds penalty.
Yeah.
Motoring Morgan also 2 seconds penalty. Nathan Rutter has 1 second penalty.
Yeah. So Motoring Morgan currently leading this race by 4 tenths though ahead of xTheOnlyGx, and Shoulders and Nathan Rutter have dropped off of them a little bit here at the start of this lap. We didn't quite catch what happened there, but looks like they've put a bit of breathing space, and now Nathan Rutter looking to the inside, coming up towards Brooklands, but there's no way around Shoulders at the moment, holding on to that position just about. Now got 40 people watching across YouTube and Facebook. Incredible. So Morgan, yeah, just over half distance. Morgan currently leading this race. G needs to get ahead of him if he wants to secure the championship in this sprint race. Obviously with the feature coming up after, he will most likely wrap this championship up with a round to spare before next week at Monza Short, but certainly I'm sure he'll want to do it as soon as possible. Morgan is going to want to extend it as long as he can though, coming up with the feature race. Yeah, he'll want to keep the battle going for as long as he can. Morgan is a double champion of the Clio Cup here at Motive Racing. He's not going to win it this season. It's going to be G's first crown, but whether or not he's going to do it in this race or the next one remains to be seen. As we can see, we've got John Boy having a look to the inside there of Nick Lavilla coming into Brooklands, but he's not close enough to make that move at the moment. Nick the Miller holding on to that position just about by the skin of his teeth at this point. Oh, as we see Melted Nazar there losing the car as he came on the exit of Brooklands coming into Luffield. I didn't catch the tail end of what happened there, but he must have lost a lot of time. You can see that Fury is now climbing up all over the back of him as we come on the exit of Woodcote. You can see Fury there. You can see from his steering inputs he is a controller user, and it can't be overstated how much of a good job he does on the controller. It's not easy to drive these Clios using a DualShock 4. Most of these guys are on a wheel. As we go back to the race leaders here, Rav. Race leaders, we've got G and Morgan very close. It looks like G for a moment there had the lead on the timing screens in the top left hand corner, but Morgan taking it straight back. I think maybe G outbrakes him into Brooklands, went a little bit deep, and Morgan, I assume, would have undercut him on the exit coming into Luffield. But G just filling it out at the moment, trying to find a gap if he can. And as we've said earlier on, if G can finish as the race winner in this sprint race, then he will wrap up the championship with a round to spare ahead of the, well, in fact with a round and a race to spare, because we've got the feature race coming up later on after this, and then the final round of the season next week at Monza Short. Question is G going to, is he going to do it incredibly early here? No matter what, if he does it tonight, it's still very early. Still can't find a way past motoring Morgan at the moment.
Yes,
Morgan defending brilliant. Yeah, Morgan defending absolutely fantastically at this point.
That's correct. Let's keep him the fighting.
Oh, G forcing his way up the inside. Morgan has to get in space. He is.
For the victory.
Nathan Rutter currently flying at the moment in behind. More that these guys fight it out, the more that it's going to give Nathan Rutter that opportunity to get himself into this fight for the race victory. Last time around, Nathan gained 0.3 of a second on each of these pair in front of him. Shoulders currently P4, 1.3 seconds off of these guys, so don't count out Shoulders. I said earlier on he could be a dark horse for the win, and he's keeping himself in contention. Also, big shout out to Nick the Villa running in P5. He's kept it consistent. He's currently holding off John Boy in that battle. These guys have shaken off Ian by the looks of it in 7th. But Morgan having a look to the inside as we're now watching the battle between Emo Guy and John Boy. Emo Guy trying to make that move, he can't quite do it at the moment. G making a move to the inside here of Morgan coming through Luffield. Looks like he managed to hold on to the position there. Morgan though pushing it with everything he's got, and Morgan's going to get a nicer run coming out onto the pit straight. These guys are going to be side by side coming down the pit straight. Nathan Rutter is waiting in the wings. Now question is, what's going to happen here coming through Copse? Nathan Rutter's right there. These two can't afford to slow each other down at all, because Nathan Rutter's going to capitalise. As we see there, G leading Morgan through Copse, and now Nathan Rutter is getting involved in the picture. Gives Morgan a little bit of a nudge out of the way there as he moves his way through. Nathan Rutter's up into P2. Morgan's trying to take it around the outside, coming into Maggots, but looks like Nathan's up the inside into the position there, into second place. Morgan is going to be frustrated at that, but Nathan doing a great job opportunistically barging his way through into that position. And now Shoulders looking all over the back of Morgan as well. Is Shoulders going to fancy his chances on the brakes into Brooklands? It looks like Morgan having a look at the inside of Nathan as well. Shoulders onto the brakes, Morgan late on the brakes, and can't quite make the move on Nathan Rutter for the time being. I imagine G is going to try and break away here, but Nathan is not letting him. He's making sure that he's staying in that slipstream at the moment. G holding on to that lead. Nathan Rutter trying everything he can to keep Morgan at bay, as with these guys coming over the line to complete lap 15. We've got 4 minutes left to go here in this sprint race. 4 laps left. What is going to happen? As we see there, it looks like Nathan Rutter getting wide, getting pushed out a little bit by Morgan. Oh, as we see Shoulders there running into Nathan, and there's a domino effect, and it looked like Nathan has got onto his roof there, but that was Shoulders moving across a little bit too much, just tagging Morgan, the left rear bumper, right rear bumper, sorry, of Morgan, which caused him to then run into Nathan. And those three guys coming together. Shoulders comes out of it with P2. but that has left the Only G very much with the race win at his mercy. He's got 3 seconds now, so this is going to be a case of, this is basically going to be 3 victory laps for the Only G, the champion-elect here of motive racing.
That's correct. Correct.
That is absolutely gutting there for those 3 guys. They were giving it so much. They were fighting so fantastically well for all those laps, and unfortunately it just boiled over a little bit too much. And Nathan Rutter, you've got to feel for him. He is down to 8th place now, having been in that fight for second, or even the lead, I would say, up until that moment. So that is heartbreaking there for Nathan Rutter, but every cloud has a silver lining. Nathan Rutter will be able to qualify in the feature race qualifying session, which means that if he can get pole position, he will be a long way ahead of G, Morgan and Shoulders on the grid. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, see how it pans out. Claudio Martin saying in the comment section here on Facebook, oh my god, yeah, Claudio, I can't believe that they eventually, it all spilled over, and they those 3 guys ended up spinning out on the exit of Cops Corner, gutting for Morgan, Shoulders and Nathan Rutter. Morgan and Shoulders still battling over the podium spot, but Nathan Rutter dropping well and truly out of the picture in that debacle. 2 to go here at Silverstone National for the penultimate round of the season here for Motive Racing Clio Cup.
Yes, I feel bad. Yeah, I feel really sorry for Nathan Rutter.
Yeah, I feel awful for him. He was so close to potentially taking the W tonight in this sprint race, but it's all been snatched away from him very much at the last second here. And I suspect that G is going to bring it home to take the win, and with it the championship, as we've got Emo Guy currently trying to fend off Superfast Joe. There's Nathan Rutter there just behind Joe on the track there. You can see him coming down the Wellington Straight. In the background you've also got Fury and Melted Dazza giving it a great show here. Looks like Fury defending from Melted Dazza at this point and keeping him at bay for the time being. Fury doing a good job there on the brakes coming into Brooklands, keeping Melted Dazza very much behind him. Melted Dazza having a look coming into the field, but Fury is not going to let him go by in that particular scenario. It looks like G has made a mistake here because he's dropped back into the clutches of Motor and Morgan, and Shoulders right behind these guys as well. 1.2 seconds separating the top 5 at the moment. Got a comment coming in here from Mark Nairn saying this is like the real Clio's wicked racing action. 100% Mark, we've seen some fantastic racing over the course of this sprint race. Make sure you tune in guys for the feature race coming up after this, hopefully some more of the same. But we've seen motive racing at its best. What an advert for the league tonight. Truly proud of all of these lads out on track. They've given it 110%. Really happy with how it's gone. Currently riding on board with John Boy, who's just behind Nick DeVilla at the moment. These guys battling over 4th place, but let's go to the Only G if we can. The Only G takes the race victory tonight here in the sprint race, and with it the Clio Cup crown at Motive Racing. It's the one that's got away from him over the course of the last few seasons, but finally he takes the one that's eluded him. Brilliant job from G. Dominant performance in this championship from start to finish. Rav, what have you got to say about the champion tonight? Great performance.
Just congratulations, man. He well deserved it, man. He practiced off season almost every day in all kinds of circuits, long, short, big, narrow, all kinds of tracks, and yeah, I think that yeah, bear his fruits, and yeah, he's now champion.
Yeah,
congratulations to him.
Brilliant stuff there from G. Obviously a lot of people will be wanting to congratulate G, and he's always been there or thereabouts in these Clios. I would say pretty much since our first season. This is our 4th season in the Clios. Ever since our first season, I believe he's been the one with the quickest raw pace
in these cars. He's just been unlucky with how things have gone. He's never seemed to get the rub of the green until this season, when everything has suddenly clicked into place, and he's been getting victory after victory. Took the first 4 or 5 races even of the season consecutively. He's just been on another level from the rest of the field over the course of this season, and Morgan, the 2-time champion of the Clios, has had no answer to him this time around. So G is the champion of the Clio Cup, guys. We've still got more action tonight. Make sure you stay tuned in for the feature race qualifying session coming up in a couple of minutes time, followed by the feature race. Expect the feature race to get going at around 9 o'clock. That's probably a safe bet to get back for that time. We'll be back in a few moments time for the qualifying session. Stay tuned. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here at Motive Racing for the feature race here in the penultimate round of the Clio Cups. This is the feature race previously, that was the sprint race. Now we got the qualifying section of the feature race where the top 5 of the last results were not able to qualify. Currently watching Super Fast Joe. Melted Desert on the track, DJ Phil. Also, Smoky Devils about to hit. Fury also on track doing his outlap, going with Emo Guy. Let's take a lap with Fury on board for his qualifying lap. Provisional pole position. Vector times. Up. Emo Guy in the third place position. Followed by Fury. As a nice good slipstream going on from Emo Guy.
Fury looks like he's 4 tenths up on his personal best in the middle sector, Rav, so if he keeps up this sort of pace, he might end up putting it on the top spot. Currently 3 tenths off the pole time. He didn't get the exit he would have liked out of Luffield there though. See if he can keep with it. Might find himself on pole here. See as he comes over the line. Looks like actually he might have been invalidated as he came through Luffield, because he's definitely dropped off.
That's correct. He went a bit wide.
Nathan Rutter coming out of the pits, the provisional pole sitter. Nathan Rutter's already been talking the talk in the YouTube comments section, saying that he reckons he's going to be on pole. His actual words were, "Pole, here I come." So he is expecting to stick at where he's at the moment. Have to wait and see if that materialises. Also a comment coming in from Mark Nairn in the comment section saying massive congratulations to G on taking the championship a few moments ago. If you weren't watching just a few minutes ago for the sprint race, the only G wrapped up the Clio Cup crown here at Motive Racing, his first championship in the Clios since we started. It's our 4th season. Morgan took two of them, and it's actually JR Lock and Load who took the first one. Seems like an eternity ago now, back in our first season here, but Nathan Rutter coming over the line can't improve that time around, but he's still sat on the provisional pole time at this particular point. Melted Dazza currently sat P2, quarter of a second off of Nathan Rutter's time. He looked to go a bit deep there coming into Brooklands. That wouldn't have helped him at all as he gets onto the power now out of Luffield and up through Woodcote. He's going to keep his foot planted here as he comes up towards the line now. What is it going to be for Melted Dazza? Can't improve that time around, stays P2 at this point. Just under 2 minutes left to go here in this feature race qualifying session. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook, I urge you to click the link in the comments section and have a look at our YouTube stream. YouTube is where it all goes down here at Motive Racing. It's the hub of our esports league broadcasts, and if you want to get involved in the action here at Motive Racing, then be sure to join our Discord server. It'll be in the description. If you go to the description section and click the link of our Discord, that will take you your ticket to some of the cleanest, fastest sim racing on the PlayStation 4 platform here, primarily on Project Cars 2, but we're also doing leagues on ACC as well as F1 2020 coming soon, and Rocket League as well. Now, I'm not too involved in the Rocket League stuff, but I hear it's a bit of a catch at the moment, so if anybody would like to... Hey, I sound like I'm 50 years old. I'm not, I'm actually 22. I don't know, so I'm just talking like an old man here, but yeah, Rocket League apparently, very popular game. So if you want to play Rocket League when I see it at Motive Racing, make sure you check that out. It looks like the session is almost done and dusted here. 20 seconds left to go on the clock. We've got Nathan Rutter coming through Cops. Looks like Fury's brought it into the pit, so he's not intending to put it on pole position by the looks of it. He seems pretty content with P4 second row start, and we know that Fury always flies off the line on the opening lap, so we're sat here expectantly waiting for Fury to be in the race lead by the end of lap 1. If anything less than that, and we will be very disappointed, Fury, so the pressure's on you tonight, son. See if you can deliver. I'm only joking, Fury, but it would be nice if you are leading at the end of the first lap. I'll stop putting pressure on you now. Obviously Fury's grand up in the comments section earlier on for the sprint race, I think. Oh, he wasn't. Oh yeah, he was. So obviously Fury's always got a lot of support here in the chat section here in Motive Racing. You're one of our consistent drivers, always up there or thereabouts, fighting races across the board here in Motive. Races in GT3 3s, Clios, touring cars, always a regular face here on the grid. It looks like the qualifying session is done, so that is that. So it's going to be Nathan Rutter starting on pole position for this one. Melted Dazzle alongside him. We've got Emo Guy and Fury lining up on the second row with Superfast Joe, DJ Phil, Smoky Devil, John Boy, Nick the Villa and Shoulders completing the top 10. And then we have Motor and Morgan and G, the two protagonists from these last few seasons, sat in 11th and 12th. Fury's granddad saying he's still here. Fury's mum also making her presence known. We got Fury CBK in the comments. Fury himself saying, me leading in these cars, I don't stand a chance. Nathan Rutter saying, I talk the talk and I walk the walk. Well, Nathan Rutter, there's still a long way to go. 28 laps of Silverstone National, I do apologise, in the night time to boot. So it is going to be, the visibility will be at a premium in this race. So be sure to look out for a lessened grip on the track, obviously with the track temperatures starting to plummet. But Rav, can't wait for this. Oh my goodness. No, it can't be. Surely not. Surely not. Surely not. It can't be. It's impossible. It's September.
Strangest things happen.
True. I guess we can blame it on COVID. Here we go, guys. We are about to go racing here for the feature race for round 5 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup. We've just hold on. Here we go then, guys. We're about to go racing here for in the evening at Silverstone National. When these lights go out, we'll be underway. Nathan Rutter lining up at the front on the right hand side, Melted Dazzle alongside him, and we are underway. We are racing, and it looks like a good start there off the line from Nathan Rutter. Gets away nicely. Melted Dazzle tucks in behind. We've got Emo Guy Fury side by side in the background. It looks like those guys both get through the corner nicely done. My Smoky down up into P6 ahead of DJ Phil. DJ Phil dropping back down the field down to 8th place already. Looks like Shoulders staying in P9. He's actually got past DJ Phil as well. So DJ Phil getting absolutely swamped down to last place there, coming through between Cops and Maggots. But you can see there Nathan Rutter holding on to the race lead at the start, and it looks like somebody's gone a little bit wide there. That Shoulders there getting well out of shape, and that's allowed Morgan and G up into 8th and 9th respectively. Now on the back of Smoky Devil, but Shoulders still on the inside of G coming down the Wellington straight. You're riding on board with the chase cam of DJ Phil as G swerves over to the left to try and put Shoulders off, but Shoulders standing firm. But it looks like Shoulders had to get out of it there because Morgan appeared to lose the car a little bit in the foreground, and we see there is a big crash, and it looks like Smoky Devil there gets out of shape, and a domino effect if you like, causing Shoulders to get pinged off the track and down into last place here coming through Brooklands. He's now down behind DJ Phil as we're watching on board with DJ Phil the battle for 8th place at the moment between Smoky Devil and the only G, but Morgan there getting a free pass up into 7th place off onto the back of the front pack already. Let's get some eyes on the front pack as we see Smoky Devil there going wide out of Cops. We got Nathan Rutter leading the way. If we could have some cockpit cams, Rav, it'd be amazing. As we can see, currently Emo Guy all over the back here of our race leader Nathan Rutter. 0.4 of a second separating these guys as we're coming down the Wellington straight. You can see there Emo Guy sticking to the back of him. He's not going to want to allow Nathan Rutter to run away with the race lead at the start of this one, keeping him very much on his toes at this point. John Boy currently tucking in behind these guys in 3rd. Looks like he's already lost a bit of time to these two leaders, but Emo Guy had a little bit of a so-so race in the sprint race. He is going to want to go, and he's going to want to do the business here in Great Britain here at Silverstone tonight. We've got currently John Boy coming under pressure from Fury. Fury maintaining his P4 on the opening lap, not making the usual gains that we're so used to seeing. He said in the comments section, don't expect me to be making my usual flop. We didn't say, actually he didn't say it like that because he's not arrogant, but he was suggesting that he wouldn't be making his way through the pack And he's currently sat P4 at the moment. We've got Mark Nen at the moment in the comments section saying, "Go Emo, go!" Ian currently sat right behind the race leader Nathan Rutter at the moment. We've got Melted Dazzle all over the back here of Nick DeVilla and Motoring Morgan. Motoring Morgan, though, Rav, has made unbelievable progress so far in this race, up into P6.
That's correct. He has a flying start, and after our party later on, he went on to take the 6th place.
Yeah, and he's looking to the outside here. Yeah, but Nick DeVilla there, but breaking late into Brooklands, holding on to that position at the moment, no way round for Motoring Morgan. You can see in the ball round there, we've got John Boy facing even more pressure from Fury, but Fury goes wide there coming out of Luffield, which might allow Nick DeVilla to have a look here, but Morgan on the inside of Nick DeVilla. We could be 3 wide. Oh, and Fury there gets a slowdown penalty and breaks right in front of... Oh, he didn't seem to break just in front there of Morgan, which cost him a little bit of time. Morgan, I'm sure, will not be too happy about that, but he loses a little bit of time. He's now got G all over the back of him. But you can see up ahead of these guys, Nick DeVilla and Melted Dazzler, as now G gets a lovely run coming out onto the Wellington Straight. Morgan is going to go defensive very early on here as we come under the www.silverstone.co.uk bridge, as we come up towards Brooklands now. Morgan has the outside. Sorry, Morgan has the inside. G is going to try and get it round Brooklands, but he's not going to do that. There's no chance you're going to drive around. For goodness sake. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise. I do apologise. Controller disconnected there. Right, we're back on, but the ODG still all over the back of Motoring Morgan at the moment. Right behind Melted Dazzler as well, and you can see there Nick DeVilla getting very wide there, coming out of Cop's corner. But I'm sure that Nick DeVilla will get a slowdown penalty for that. He must have gained so much time abusing the track limits there. Incredible stuff. Gap at the front between Nathan Rutter and Nemo Guy, 0.8 of a second. Looks like G got a slowdown penalty there and had to get well out of it. Pardon me. Let's get some eyes on the battle up ahead if we can, Rav, because it looks like Emo Guy is all over the back of Nathan Rutter. 4P1. I don't know if you're picking it up, Rav, but I think there is a battle going on between Nathan and Emo Guy. Rav, are you still there? Hello? Oh, we believe the cameraman has just gone off for a second. We hopefully are getting him back any moment now. There we go, we got him back. Rav was just his controller died, that explains it. So we're back on board now with Emo Guy, who is very much keeping Nathan Rutter honest so far in this race. He has been sticking to the back of him like glue, very impressively indeed. At the moment he can't quite find a way through, but these guys giving us a hell of a show at the front of the field. And it looks like John Boy's also pulled up onto them.
Yeah, loving it every tenth of a second.
Oh yeah, incredible stuff. Morgan still all over the back of Nick DeVilla in the battle for 4th and 5th. I don't know, Rav, if it'd be possible to flick between trackside and cockpit, if possible. For some reason I think people like it more when there's cockpit views or trackside. I don't know why, but they're more popular, I think. I don't know why. I mean, chase cam looks good, you know what I mean? It's a nice sort of field of view.
Because we've got some view on the left and the other side.
Yeah. So we currently got Morgan at the moment all over the back of Nick DeVilla in the battle for 4th and 5th place. You can see there Nick DeVilla doing a bit of weaving as they come up towards Brooklands. No way around at the moment. Still Nathan Rutter holding off Emo Guy and John Boy for the lead. Morgan doing his personal best middle sector there, but still not able to find a way around Nick DeVilla at the moment. G had that moment, dropped a little bit off with them. He's down in P7 at the moment. There he is, the champion of Season 4 for Motive Racing's Clio Cup, the only G you would have seen a few moments ago, became the new champion, taking the crown off of Morgan. Morgan has ruled the Clio Cup division here at Motive Racing for the past 2 seasons, but it's time for a new order. G's done a fantastic job all season, dominated it, took the first 4 races of the season. Very impressive. It looks like Emo Guy has got up into the lead here, Rav, and Nathan Rutter has dropped a couple of places. He's been passed by both Emo Guy and John Boy.
Yes.
We can see here John Boy having a look to the inside of Emo Guy coming into Brooklands. Emo Guy holding it around the outside for the moment. Nathan Rutter slotting in behind, and this has allowed Nick De Villa and Motoring Morgan to both close up onto these guys now, so this is quickly becoming a 5-man battle for the lead. We've got Melted Dazza and the only G not too far behind these guys as well, so I don't know, we could end up with 6 cars battling for this P1 as we see John Boy making a move to the inside there, getting that position done on Emo Guy. Nathan Rutter still hanging it around the outside at the moment. You've got Nick De Villa and Motoring Morgan just tucking in. Motoring Morgan going for a very cautious approach here, not really attacking like we're used to seeing. He maybe is playing the long game in this race. The pit window is set to open on this lap, so it is now going to be very interesting to see what these guys do. Are they going to try and play to the show and give us some action, or are they going to come into the pits at the end of this lap and try and skip out the traffic and get their foot down in some clear air? It looks like it wouldn't necessarily.
Background now, but there's not a bit wide.
As we see the G getting past Shoulders and Melted Dazza up into P5, and it looks like Motoring Morgan is coming into the pits, and so is John Boy. So those two both opting to make their stops. Now G is running in some clear air ahead of Shoulders and Melted Dazza, but for how long? It looks like Shoulders has got a good run here coming down the pit straight. I think he might be a bit too far back to go for a move into Cop's corner, as you were for the moment. So now G has got 8 seconds of clear road up ahead of him. I suppose now would be a good opportunity for him to stay out on the track and try and get his foot down. He has got cars in his rearview mirrors which will maybe inhibit his ability to fully concentrate on what's ahead of him, because he will have to keep some of his concentration on keeping Shoulders and Melted Dazza at bay. But we're currently going back to the battle for the lead here. Evo Guy holding it, and Nick De Villa goes to the outside. Nathan Rutter is up the inside into P2. Good stuff there from him, but Nick De Villa immediately replies there, back up the inside there of Luffield, and gets back the position there. Great driving from Nick De Villa. I thought Nathan Rutter had that, but Nick De Villa was having none of it, as we see Nathan into the pits now. So these two at the front are left by themselves. Nathan opting to try and get the undercut. Now it is going to be interesting to see where Nathan comes out in relation to Motoring Morgan, because those two were both in that lead pack. They've pitted a lap apart. It's going to be fascinating to see now whether or not Nathan Rutter made the right call in staying out for an extra lap, or did Morgan time his pit stop to perfection. Morgan is just coming up on John Boy at this point. John Boy was also in that lead pack earlier on. We're now riding on the chase cam with Nathan Rutter, who's just coming towards the end of the pit lane now. Where is he going to come out in relation to these boys? It looks like it might have paid off for him. It has it? Oh, it's going to be so close here as Nathan Rutter comes to the end of the pit lane. It looks like John Boy's done it, but so Nathan Rutter splits John Boy and Motoring Morgan. Morgan in the end losing out massively in the pit stops. He's now behind Nathan Rutter. So these three guys currently running in 7th, 8th and 9th places, having already made their mandatory pit stops. And obviously you've got Nick De Villa and Emo Guy, the other two, who were in that 5-car battle for the first few laps, up the front now. So question is, can Nick De Villa and Emo Guy keep up the sort of pace they're doing and come out in front of or relative to John Boy, Nathan and Motoring Morgan? It's going to be a fascinating race to see how this one pans out. lap 12 of 28 for this feature race here at Silverstone National. We've had some incredible action over the course of 2 tiers tonight here in the Clio Cup. So proud of all the lads on track who have done that's a great service here at Motive Racing, and so proud to see the standard of driving that we've had. And G currently sat P3 at the moment, 6 seconds off of the 2 leaders, Nick and Emo Guy. So he's currently lapping in the 1:02, so he's the fastest man on track at the moment. G might be able to make the most of having some clear air, because Nick and the Villa and Emo Guy are both battling. Also, you've got John Boy, Nathan and Motoring Morgan all battling each other. So I don't know, maybe G could fight his way back into this race, who knows at this point.
I think when he makes this stop, difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seconds.
Yeah, I think that G will come out behind that 3-car battle of John Boy, Nathan and Motoring Morgan. But if he can put in some consistent lap times and keep doing what he's doing, he might be able to close in, because they're going to be battling each other. They might be slowing each other down, who knows. It depends on whether they're going to be working together or not. Obviously in these Clios it is easy to bump draft and push each other along, but equally it's just as easy to slow each other down by battling each other too much, getting into some argy-bargy and bumping each other too much in the corners. So I'm sure that G cannot be counted out of this race. As we see, Nick de Villa is coming into the pits now. We're going to see where Nick de Villa comes out in relation to these 3 lads who were fighting him for the race lead before these 3 all came into the pits. So Nick de Villa's just in his box by the looks of it. We're going to keep an eye on Nick and see where he comes out in relation to these guys as they charge down the pit straight. Looks like Nick is just coming out of the pit exit now. So where are the charging pack of John Boy, Motoring Morgan and Nathan? It looks like they've all jumped him. They've got well out ahead of Nick de Villa there. So Nick de Villa losing out tremendously in the pit stops. It looks like John Boy, Motoring Morgan and Nathan Rutter, the 3 guys who made the early pit stop, are making some gains here in this race. These 3 guys are absolutely flying at this point. Now Ian in the race lead has got to watch out, because these 3 lads are hard charging in the background. It looks like G is making his mandatory stop now, as is Ian. So both of these guys coming in at the half distance mark here in this race. That releases shoulders into the race lead, and we can see here John Boy trying to defend from Morgan. Morgan looking to the inside here of Luffield. It looks like John Boy going a little bit wide. Morgan just holding it, hugging the apex on the inside, and it looks like it's up into the lead here, or up into the net lead should I say. Is it going to be the net lead? Because Ian and G are coming towards the end of the pit lane. Where are they going to come out? We can see here Emo Guy staying ahead of G in the pit stops, but where are these 3? You can see just coming into Cop's corner now. G comes out behind them. Where's Emo Guy though? It looks like Motoring Morgan has done enough here. Motoring Morgan up into the lead. John Boy, Nathan following him through. The 3 guys who pitted early have got the undercut in this race, and Emo Guy and G, well, Emo Guy and Nick de Villa losing out. G wasn't really in the battle in the first place. He's been closing in on them gradually. So now Motoring Morgan, John Boy and Nathan find himself in a 3-car battle. They have managed to make that undercut work. Emo Guy and Nick de Villa losing out enormously in the pit stop phases, as we see Nathan having a look to the outside there of John Boy, coming into the braking zone into Brooklands. Can't quite make it stick. John Boy trying to hold it around the outside of Luffield, and Motoring Morgan sticking to the inside, once again hugging the apex, and just about giving him the space on the outside, which looks like we might be going 3 wide here in a few moments time. Currently Motoring Morgan somehow, sorry, John Boy even holding these guys off. Morgan though leading this 3-car train. Shoulders leading the race. We're expecting Shoulders to come out in 7th once he makes his mandatory pit stop. But what a race we have in store. We've got, I think we've got 6 cars potentially are going to be battling over this race victory tonight, Rav. Honestly, this is yeah, maybe very possibly.
Don't forget Shoulders has clean air.
Shoulders has clean air, that's true. Pit stop about 27 seconds, so he should come out just behind G. But then again, the slightest little mistake from any of these guys could bring him back into play. And yeah, as you say, clean air could be a huge factor here, but he really needs to make the most of it. He needs to get dialed in as much as he can here, pretty much. We've got Nick De Villa currently sat in P6 at the moment, currently holding off G, but G's going to want to get past Nick as soon as he can, because he's going to be wanting to pull up onto the back of this now 4-car train. So Ian has caught up to the other 3, Morgan, Nathan and John Boy. So there's now a 4-car train for what is the net lead of the race once Shoulders comes in. It looks like Nick has dropped off the pace a bit. G is going to need to get past Nick as soon as possible. G's now within 4 seconds of that 4-car train, but it all depends on how quickly he can clear Nick De Villa, or can Nick De Villa get his foot down and try and respond to those guys up ahead.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nick De Villa just looks like he's dropped off the pace a bit.
Another that bit wide there. Come on. That's Fury.
Fury disconnected from the lobby. That's really unfortunate there for him. I'm not sure if that was a straight up disconnection or whether that was a ejection of the disc or PlayStation being turned off, but I'm sure we'll find out in the comment section in a few moments time. Fury, let us know what happened to you, buddy, if you can. As we can see here, Morgan currently holding off John Boy and Nathan Rutter. Still Nathan looking to the outside of Brooklands here. He's got the inside for Luffield. It looks like he's got that position done on John Boy. Yeah, he is right up on the back of them, Rev. And looks like Nick and G starting to close in actually a bit now, within 3 seconds of these guys. So while these 4 give it everything and battle each other, it looks like G and Nick are closing the gap. G's got the inside coming into Cops on Nick. Nick takes out the braking marker on the left hand side, having to give G the space on the inside, but G is up into that position. He's 4 seconds off Motor and Morgan. He is 3 seconds off of the back of Emo Guy. G has got 10 laps to close in 3.5 seconds. He's going to have to lap 3-4 tenths a lap quicker than these guys if he wants to even have a sniff of this race win. And it looks like Emo Guy has dropped off the pace. He seems to have made a mistake on that last lap, Rav. He's dropped back into the clutches of G. And in fact, John Boy has dropped back. John Boy and Emo Guy look like they might have come together there, because they've now dropped in amongst... Well, John Boy's dropped behind this battle, but Emo Guy there falling behind G. So now these guys are thrown back into the mix. It's now Motor Morgan and Nathan Rutter left out on their own in front, with G leading this chasing pack. So now Motor Morgan and Nathan Rutter leading the field, net lead of the field. Shoulders obviously still needs to come in for his pit stop, so ignore P1 at the moment. He's technically not in this race. There he is, just coming into Brooklands, coming up on some traffic. That looks like it might be DJ Phil. But yeah, so Motor and Morgan will inherit the race lead. It looks like Nathan Rutter's dropped a little bit off of Morgan, actually, coming through the first sector. Morgan's pulled out almost a second now to him, and we can see there G, John Boy, Emo Guy, Nick De Villa running in very close contention at the moment. And you can see there John Boy has got cars on either side of him, and now, and it looks like Emo Guy making a move to the inside, coming into Brooklands. He can't quite get the move at the moment, but Ian was having a look. Nick De Villa still sticking it on the inside there of Emo Guy, not able to get involved in that action at the moment, but Nick De Villa looking on a knife's edge here, with Emo Guy right behind him. John Boy there staying ahead of those guys, but G still leading this chasing pack. The gap between Nathan and G now down to 2.5 seconds. G's closing the gap to the top 2 at this point, Morgan and Nathan.
That's correct.
So in fact, you know, they're all closing the gap.
They're fighting
100%. As we have got 7.5 laps left to go here at Silverstone National for the penultimate round of the season. Championship already decided in the sprint race earlier on. The only G was crowned the Clio Cup champion for season 4 here at Motive Racing, but we're seeing an incredible battle for this race win here in the feature race. It's been fantastic, it really has. And at the moment Morgan bossing it, but Nathan Rutter not letting him get off the hook. We're also seeing some penalties come into play. We will find out once we hit the checkered flag what they are. But Morgan currently holding off Nathan Rutter at the moment, and a gap between Nathan and G now down to 2 seconds. G still just nipping away at that margin to the leaders, and they're only going to be slowing each other down. Morgan will be wanting to defend that position and stay ahead of Nathan until we get to the end of this race.
Already 18 seconds.
Yeah, so Shoulders losing time at the front. He's going to want to come in as soon as possible now and make sure that he comes out. Well, he might come out ahead of Emo Guy. Ian seems to have dropped off the pace a little bit off of this front pack. So, I don't know, Shoulders could maybe pick up P7 if he pushes. P6 even.
I hope he knows that he needs to.
See your Shoulders coming up on some traffic. That's DJ Phil there, but Morgan still holding off Nathan Rutter in what is the net lead of the race. G last time around didn't gain any more time on these two. They're pretty much matching each other over the course of the previous lap. So still Morgan leading this race, the net lead of the race, with Shoulders still yet to come in. G looks like he's not really gaining as much as he was on Morgan and Nathan. Just on these last couple of laps, the gap has pretty much stayed the same. Morgan coming around to start lap 24. 5 laps left to go here in this feature race. John Boy still sticking to the back of G, not letting him run off. It looks like these guys have shaken off Nick Lavilla a little bit. There's Emo Guy just coming up towards Cops. But G still holding off John Boy and still keeping the gap reasonably down to Nathan Rutter. Last time around G took 0.4 of a second out of those two guys up ahead of him, so he started to close in once again now. The gap 1.7 seconds between the lead pair and the only G, and John Boy is just sitting in that slipstream and following G along. Currently John Boy the fastest man out on track. Nick Lavilla doing a reasonable job of keeping in those guys slipstream at this point, but he's struggling. You can see there he is really struggling to keep up with them at this point, as these guys come out onto lap 25 now. There we go, there are the top 5. Emo Guy there, still sat P6, dropping off the pace. Looks like his tyres have gone away from him. It's a shame there for Ian, was running in a prominent position earlier on, but ultimately the pace seems to have dropped off just a little bit. Got 17 seconds currently separating Shoulders and Motoring Morgan. Shoulders still needs to come in for his mandatory pit stop at some point in the next 2 laps 26 and 27 being the only laps where he can come in to make that stop. Morgan will inherit the lead. Looks like Morgan's put a bit of a gap between himself and Nathan Rutter over the last couple of laps, and now G is all over the rear end of Nathan now. But I think Morgan has got too much of a gap for G to win this feature race. G took the championship in the sprint earlier on, but I think Morgan is going to get the last laugh here at Silverstone tonight. As we see there, it looks like actually Morgan might have got a slowdown penalty coming down the Wellington straight there, because he's back right out of it. Now, all of a sudden, this has allowed G and John Boy to close right up. Nick de Villa possibly playing into contention as well here. We might have a 5-man battle on for the race win here. 2 laps left to go here at Silverstone National. Motoring Morgan with the net lead of the race. Nathan Rutter, only G, John Boy in hot pursuit at the moment, as we see Nathan Rutter going a little bit wide there coming through Cops, and G is going to pick up on that and take that position. G is now up into net second place. Race leader Shoulders still needs to come in on this lap. He has to come in this time around or he'll be disqualified. We see John Boy getting sideways there coming through Beckett's, flashing his lights there at Nathan Rutter saying get out of the way. But Nathan Rutter has been fighting for this win since the first lap, and he's not going to be moving over anytime soon. John Boy weaving everywhere, trying to get in his head, makes the move to the inside of Brooklands. He's not going to make that stick. Shoulders the race leaders into the pits. So this is the battle for the win. Motoring Morgan holds the lead. G is absolutely hounding and hassling him here as we come out of Luffield. We're going to cross the line for the penultimate time here in this race. Who is going to win here for the feature race at Silverstone? Shoulders there, you can see in the pits. These guys just coming by to gain their position there. Shoulders will drop most likely into 6th place once all is said and done. But who is going to take this win? Morgan leads, G second, Nathan Rutter sat third, and John Boy right on the tail of Nathan Rutter. Anything can happen here on this final lap wrap. Absolutely incredible stuff as we're coming out onto the Wellington straight now. Morgan holding the lead. What can G do? Is it going to be one final throw of the dice for the only G, the new champion of the Motor Racing's Clio Cup here? We saw in the sprint race, crowned champion, as we see now John Boy putting out to the left hand side. G trying to make a move here on Morgan, tries to undercut him. Morgan goes a little bit deep into Brooklands. G looks like he's going to go on the outside into the half field, but Morgan holding on the inside, and it looks like he squeezes him out a little bit. G can't make the move. Looks like John Boy has got a position done on Nathan Rutter as we come out of Luffield and into Woodcote for the final time. It is going to be Motoring Morgan who's going to take the win on the track, but G is going to take it by virtue of Motoring Morgan's penalty. What a race from those guys. Nathan Rutter comes over in P3. Motoring Morgan drops down to 4th due to his penalty. Nathan Rutter picks up the 3rd place, but G and John Boy, Nathan Rutter, Morgan, what a race from those guys. Nick the Villa and Emo Guy drove brilliantly as well. Shoulders led the race for a while due to the pit strategy. Melted Dazzler and DJ for the last to finish, guys. But oh my goodness me, what a race, what a finish that was, Ravi.
Oh man, that was a lesson. That was a lesson. That was a lesson.
Jeez.
Just bit on the right time. Bit on the right time.
Yeah, it was all down to that pit strategy.
That's correct, man. The battle for the first place was awesome. These 3, man.
A fantastic advert for motor racing. We're going to see if we can actually get somebody into the commentary box if possible. We're not going to say who unless they actually join, but I don't know whether or not he'll be down. If not, it doesn't matter. But guys, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who joined us live on the YouTube and Facebook channels here at Motive Racing. And if you're interested in joining the leagues, then be sure to go to the description and click our Discord link. That will take you your ticket to some of the best sim racing on the PlayStation 4 platform. I want to say a huge thank you to all the drivers out on track who made this possible and gave us the action tonight. Also a big thank you to Rav for joining me in the box and for doing a great job on the cameras tonight as well.
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We're going to see if we can grab a quick word with somebody. we'll give it a minute or so. If not, doesn't matter, obviously. But the only G there taking the race victory here in the feature race by 0.3 of a second in the end over John Boy. Nathan Rutter completing the podium there. Motoring Morgan missing out by 0.4 of a second on that podium spot. Nick DeVilla, Emo Guy's shoulders in the end a little way off. Emo Guy's tyres dropped off at the end. His lap times were pretty blistering in the early part. We had Melted Dazza and DJ Phil completing the classification. Well, that is that, ladies and gentlemen, for the Clio Cup this evening. Be sure to join us next week for the finale. With the championship already wrapped up, it is surely still going to be a good race. It's always a cracker around Monza short. It should be an interesting one. And we have actually got our new Clio Cup champion here, not Motor Morgan.
Okay.
The only G.
You know what?
I was thinking of. I was thinking of last season. Obviously, I'm so used to. The thing is, the reason why I said that was because I'm so used to Motoring Morgan being the champion. For the past 2 seasons, he's had a stranglehold over this title. He has just been part of the furniture, in a sense, you know. And but gee, I just want to get your thoughts after that. Obviously, it's been the one that's got away from who you. I've always said you're pretty much the quickest guy in the Clio since the outset, and on bad luck and inconsistency kind of played you in the first few seasons, but this season he's just been dominant. Everything's gone right. You took the first 4 wins of the season. Just tell us how you feel having taken the Clio Cup. It's completed the midweek crown in a sense here at Motor Racing for you. Yeah, I'll leave it to you.
I'm happy. I'm speechless, to be honest.
I mean, it's a fantastic performance from you all season, and you know, obviously with last season's heartbreak, with you went into the championship finale with Morgan, separated by I think it was 5 points. In the end, it was 0.4 of a second that separated you from winning that championship. But massive congratulations tonight, really well done. Happy for you. We're going to see if we can grab Morgan and Nathan into the box as well, because they put on a hell of a show in that one. Who was the other one on the podium? It was John Boy. You miss all the shots you don't take. We've got Motor and Morgan in the commentary box here. Morgan, you've had a stranglehold over the Clio Cup for the last couple of seasons. You're a double champion, but this season it's time to hand over to a new face. So, G the champion for this season, but you put in a hell of a shift there in that feature race.
Unfortunately, I had to miss around, but no, good racing. Unfortunately, this season hasn't been my season. I've lost about 3 wins now due to penalties, but
Let's make the last one.
No, it was really first time racing here in these cars. Really good race.
We also got Nathan Rutter in the box as well here. Nathan, we saw you giving a hell of a good go, and you were battling in the early part of the race with Ian. It was you two seem to be pulling away at the front. Tell us how that went for you, and are you pleased with finishing on the podium tonight in this feature race?
Definitely. I was not expecting to finish on the podium. The penalties, just everything Tyre's doing at the end of the race, just yeah. But penalties definitely worked on my side, and the start of the race was awesome.
Yeah, they seem to be on an absolute knife's edge at the end. Everyone seems to be losing it, especially Ian. It was a shame to see because he was right there at the beginning. But fantastic driving from you tonight. It's great to see you putting it in amongst it and giving these guys a real good go, because too many races this season, these two have been running away into the distance. I haven't been around for a lot of the Clio Cup races this season, but every time I watch it back on the stream, it's just the same two names at the top of the screen. So yeah, it was good to see.
It's nice to be at lower in the last one.
Yeah, well done.
In all fairness, it's good to have new drivers up there battling with me and G.
To be honest, I can't wait for the top 5 and tier 2 to be There's a rapid grab there as well.
Oh yeah,
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah, next season's going to be mad, and on the basis of tonight, I think it's going to be so close. We've got so many fast guys, and I tell you what, the stream from the sprint race looked amazing. Trust me, it looked incredible. The action on there was honestly so close. It was non-stop.
I'd definitely to watch it back.
Yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, thanks guys for giving us the action tonight. Really was incredible. No worries, always a pleasure. Big thank you to everybody joining us live on the YouTube and Facebook channels. And as I say, if you want to get involved, go to the description and check out our Discord server. That's where you can sign up through our Google Forms sheet, which will be coming out hopefully in the next couple of days. We've got leagues on Project Cars 2, ACC and F1 2020. Also, if you're a Rocket League fan, then you can come along and join our community on that one as well. We're going to get off. Have a good, lovely evening. We will see you on Friday for the V6 Megane Trophy, round 5.